What do you want? I'm gonna kill you, you bastard!
It's the Juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give them wings, we red dot 'em. Candy rappers, send 'em in, we red hot 'em. Headshot 'em, go against migraine, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox 'em. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box 'em. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like wild meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a
Shalom, brother Eric, the mad scientist. Going on, brother?
Peace.
Yeah, I know, we late. Esau, we were supposed to be talking about this like 2 nights ago, but things came up. Got a technical difficulty with weather. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what we're gonna do tonight? We're gonna still talk about Esau, but we're gonna let it be an open discussion. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull out some scriptures. You pull out some information. We're not gonna go deep into explanations and stuff like that. We're gonna say that for when we do an actual what you call a research, deep research. So
Yeah.
you know how it goes. Well, who is this in the okay, let me see who's in the gallery real quick. Mogan Israel. It says, Shalom, kings. All praises to the Most High. Shalom, brother. Shalom. So what's been going on, brother? What you on your side? I know we're gonna talk about the new group and everything. What's going on and everything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just been working on, looking up some more information. Like I said, I'm still working on that one I was trying to do with the Marcus Garvey and the Black Panthers and stuff. Yeah, so I'm almost finished that. Just been doing researching, watching the other people, watching all these other debates, trying just seeing what people talking about subjects.
Yeah.
That's it.
Been
They
checking it
doing
out.
the same old stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the recent one I seen with I think JJ and what's that guy name? Chief X. But I heard that
Yeah.
he gave JJ totally destroyed the guy. But I didn't actually watch it though.
I mean, it wasn't really nothing. I mean, to me, it wasn't really a debate. I mean, he's saying that the ancient Egyptians wasn't black. That's who Chief X was saying.
He
And
said they
JJ saying
wasn't
it
black.
was. I mean,
They wasn't
yeah.
black.
So it's like,
Oh
that was
man.
just to me, it was an idiotic debate. To me, I ain't really like the debate, but because I mean, and everybody knows JJ, and I think anybody would have won that debate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I probably would have wasted my time with that. Anybody trying to really say that the Egyptians weren't black. I mean, come on now. What are you in, brother?
Yeah. Oh, all the people watching, people jumping on. Okay.
Yeah, I just put the StreamYard link in there. Like I said, I let it be as an open open discussion tonight. You know what I'm saying? So anybody can
Yeah.
really pop up on things like that. What did it say? Megan said, I guess they didn't have white paint in Egypt at that time. Perhaps you're right.
I mean, I think people are arguing over different time periods because, like I said, you had the old kingdom, which we know was
Mhm,
African people. Then you had the middle kingdom that was took over by different people. Like you have people from Nubia, then the Hyksos, and all these other people
mhm,
that came. Then you got the new kingdom, which was like under the Ptolemy dynasty, which were the
mhm,
Greeks. So I think that's why I tell when we talk about Egypt, you can't just say, oh, no, you know what I mean? Because you're talking about 28 different dynasties or 25, something like that, 25, 28 different dynasties.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So when you talk about it, you're talking about in a broad sense. So you gotta go to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I know by Chief X, he was basically saying because it was in North Africa that most people in North Africa was like white, well, they're not white, but fair skinned.
Mhm, mhm,
I mean, which a lot of them are now because it's mixture of like the Arabics and stuff like that, the Greeks coming down, the Romans.
mhm. Shalom, shalom, brother Yasha in the house.
These,
What's going on? Oh, he lost his signal just that fast. I guess he'll be back though. He'll be back.
yeah,
He'll be back. It's all good. Um, talk about the group a little bit. I mean, we just got it up and running with pretty much last
oh,
week,
yeah. We
right?
got the Facebook group, Iron Shop Iron Facebook group debate and research. This is where people can meet. If you want to have a debate, you put up your information. Somebody might come and challenge you. Then you can set up a debate. You hit us up. Um, put up it's good for to put up your research and build. It ain't just all debating, it's research and building.
Mm-hmm.
It's connecting, and it's really for like we're trying to make it for anybody to come on and speak. So we
Mm-hmm.
got people that don't believe in it. We got people that do believe in it. So but these
Mm-hmm.
people that don't believe, they like sneak this and then hide, um.
Welcome
So we
up,
try
brother
to.
Yasha. Brother Yasha. Check your
Peace,
mic.
peace,
Yeah.
peace. I don't know. YouTube not liking me today. They just throwing me all. The stream y'all just throwing me all off the show.
Welcome aboard, brother, your son.
Yo, shalom. What's up, y'all? What's up, fam?
All right, all
Shalom.
right.
Y'all can
Let's
hear me
get it.
good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all good. You're all
Okay.
good.
Well, man, I thought something had happened to you, bro.
Nah, it's a little bit of delay with the weather up here. I should say I was a little bit under the weather. Got a little scratchy in the
Okay.
throat. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Hope all is well. All is well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, that leads me to something I was telling Eric about.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like for you to tap into something too concerning this. I would like for you to tell me a little bit of your about the story about the balm in Gilead. But after I let this out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, since I've been into the way, into the way, this truth is what made me conscious of diet, nutrition, health, stuff like that, right? And in that walk, I began to start using and taking herbs and stuff. And I've been doing this stuff for about 30 years. And
Mm-hmm.
every so often I'll come across new herbs, and I mean, these herbs are potent, brother. I went and bought soursop bitters. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sour bitters. Keep that
Mm-hmm.
name in mind. You want to hear doctor in a bottle, brother? Woo! Man, I've had
Yeah.
all types of gastrointestinal problems.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I took this stuff for 3 days, man. And it feel like the Lord's hand is inside of my body, just working things out, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me?
Yeah. Huh?
Man, I mean, so that being the case, uh tell me what you know about the balm in Gilead, the story.
Well, I do know it's like definitely I guess some type of balm that's have a little bit of soothing power, for healing and whatnot. I'm not too familiar with it, like what I'm saying, like a lot of different herbs that we see, modern traditional herbs and stuff. So it's like an ancient one. You know what I'm saying? But we could
It
we
had
could we
some.
could we,
Didn't
we
the
could look
story
it.
have something? Didn't the story have something to do with something like something where like when Israel was in this righteous state, the food and the herbs and stuff like that was blessing and healing the people. And
Hmm.
then when it got to the point to where the priests began to even fall, that they couldn't find a healing herb in the land. You
Yeah.
know,
Let me see.
so they had to go all the way down to Gilead,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they was able to find the healing balm at.
Where's Gilead at?
It's over in over there near Israel,
Mm-hmm.
Israel, the Middle East area.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know why we do it? Let me pull something up. I think it's Genesis 43. I'm gonna pull it up in the Septuagint. You know what I mean? And we'll just
Yeah,
go
that's
from
what's
there.
up.
Mm-hmm. And go from there and see if I can get it on the screen here.
The story is it talked about it talked about the healthiness in the herbs and whatnot, and the food and stuff, and then it's like when the people fell,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the power was taken out of the food.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me see if I can go to a core of it. Give me a second. I believe it's in Genesis 43. Like I said, it's a very small, small like situation. You know what I'm saying? So not a lot of people gonna really like, know it and they even think about it. I know these scriptures, and I would say it's vaguely something that I remember, but I did hear of it though. It's not something that's not common. You know what I'm saying? So you had that famous saying, "A bomb in Gilead."
It's the Clark sister song, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it might have been Rosetta Thorpe or one of them old gospel singers. Is the
Mm-hmm.
old gospel songs about that kind of stuck with me. It kind of made it stick out.
Hmm. Well, this is what it says. It says
Wow.
43 and
What
11.
was it?
And Israel, their father, said to them, you talking about Jacob, if it be so, do this: take of the fruits of the earth in your vessels and carry down to the man present of gum and honey and frankincense and stacked and turpentine and walnuts. And take double money in your hands and the money that was returned in your sacks to carry it back with you, lest peradventure in a mistake. Well, I ain't gonna say that someone they created more like the ones that come up with the song doctrine about it, but it's got some
Yeah,
type of healing effect. I would say something that's soothing more, like it's because it's a balm, right? It's a balm.
yeah.
You have you rub it or whatever, rub it in to your skin, and sometimes it heals. You know what I mean? I don't know how it does it. I don't know how it does it, but I think with the ingredients in it, it's kind of like sort of gives you like a little hot, a little softening, and that therefore massage whatever issues that you may have. You know what I mean? Now, who knows? It may have the power to go into the skin and to alter the nerve cells. You know what I'm saying? Like say how like like I guess cannabis stuff like that works in modern times. Yeah,
But
but
they got cannabis balms with people who they rub it on people with arthritis, and they're supposed to actually really help their ailment. I've never used them, but
mhm. Yeah, I mean
hey,
I
there's
know
all
You
I.
got
types.
him.
There's all
You
types of
got him.
balms you can make. Different plants and herbs, and I was even heard about the seed of avocados. How they get it, how they dig the cream out of the inside of the, and make a substance out of the inside of the cream and put it on swollen ligaments and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They say everything in the land is good, made for you. Everything good. Uh, And
Yeah. Let
be
me see
surprised
something.
if I didn't go out there and eat grass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pull a little another article. It says, "What did Jeremiah mean by there is a bomb in Gilead?" All right, if I can pull it up. For some reason, this internet is acting
Well, I
funny.
haven't read that story exhaustively. To be honest with you, I've read the story several times, but for some crazy reason, don't nothing. Very little stick.
hmm Well, because you got to remember, it's like situational. You know, certain things that when we read in the Torah, Tanakh, whatever, be a situational and not necessarily be something that we all pull at the time frame of needed as a.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And that's probably what happens. It's like, like even me, like I'm familiar with a lot of different things, but like that, it's like very vague unless I had a situation where I needed to actually talk about it. But like you said,
yeah,
being in the old church back in the days, I used to hear like these type of songs, or like you said, you're dealing with old, like back in the '70s type of stuff that was popular back there. People made songs out of them, like you said, the Clark
yeah,
sisters, et cetera, et cetera. But like I said, let me pull an article out. You know what I'm saying? We can all take a refresher on something. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. And think about it, we all good at scrutinizing things, so it definitely whatever something in that article might not be what we agree with. We can even talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. And this is good. It goes an example of how like sometimes doing research too. All right. What did Jeremiah mean by there is a bomb in Gilead? Now they got a little picture up here. I don't know if this is supposed to be the representation of it, but who knows? The heathens get a hold of stuff. They changed it to whatever they want.
yeah,
Anyway, a
yeah.
healing balm was used as a medicinal solution in ancient times, which was probably administered by medicine man, by medicine man, or wise woman in a village to help cure many types of ailments. Exactly. hmm But we do know that it was something like to heal ailments, though. Ailments is something like pain or situations where, you know what I'm saying?
Healing, something
Yeah.
healing.
hmm So it has to have something in it that absorbs through the skin. That's definite. hmm These early investments into bombs allow present day doctors and nurses to reach new depths of healing for several illnesses and diseases over the course of time. It is safe to assume that there were healing bombs used in Bible times as they are used today. Of course, come on now. All right. In the book of Jeremiah, there was one bomb in particularly mentioned, the balm of Gilead, of which the prophet Jeremiah asked Most High why he hadn't supplied this treasure bomb to help in the healing of his people in their ways. hmm
Yeah,
As we learned,
lotion,
yeah, that's
lotion,
right. Lotion,
Vaseline,
cream, yep, yep, yep.
yeah, olive oil. All of those are bombs,
hmm
or can be used as.
Yeah. I noticed there was like usually back in the day, you can go to like some of these malls or whatnot, and they have like what you call like sea salt bombs. You know what I mean?
Mm,
You rub them in your skin, and it gets all the dirt and everything. I mean, I just super your hands are sore for afterwards and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like the Dead Sea salt type of thing. You know what I mean? So I have to say that in the ancient days they would have had that knowledge better than we got today. You know what I mean? Even though
and
today
they had
we
plant matter
mm,
that would heal us to the degree to where you would need a surgery.
mm,
You know, you can read in them old ancient the Eber papyruses and stuff like that. You know,
mhm,
old records.
mhm,
Yeah, them people they a lot of the a lot of those medicines, especially like when you having like digestional problems and
mhm,
like even hemorrhoids. Today you can have them so bad to where you could have to get surgeries and boils and have to get them lanced. Where in the ancient days, they had actual balms and plant materials.
mhm.
That were actually
He said, what scripture is that about the bombs? That's what was it? Genesis.
Genesis 43
Jeremiah.
on the left and
it's a
Yeah.
couple.
Jeremiah.
Yeah,
It's a couple
Jeremiah.
of them. It's a
Yeah,
couple of different ones. I just was going through some quick, but I know that when you look at Jeremiah, he actually do a little bit more enhancement on it. But I guess it was more metaphorical,
Hey, I
metaphorical
just
fulfilling the nation.
Now this is a question I had to ask. Right, this is a question for y'all, you and Yasha, because um, is it possible that the herbs and stuff could have messed up on the land because they might wasn't following the sabbatical land law?
It could have been a little bit, a lot of that stuff.
Could have been also faith. Their faith was
yeah.
weaker.
I don't
You
know.
know.
Yeah, and also it's too about keeping the law and stuff too though. That'll heal you too. You don't gotta take none of that. I read something that said that's keeping the law
Yeah,
alone, and fasting it'll heal you.
See,
yeah,
I
that's
like
why.
what you just said. You know what
That's
you
why I
just said?
said that. That's
Mhm.
why in the story in Jeremiah, I believe that what made the plants lose its healing power was that the not only I mean the priests, the nation, everybody has started falling to sin.
Right,
You know,
right, right,
you
right.
know,
That's good. That's a very good point there, Yasha. But
and-
let's give Johnson some
Yeah.
credit for what he just said. He said something that's good there because it gave me a trigger. Let's go to Exodus chapter 15, right after they came out of across the Reed Sea. All right, and let's see what happens there because this will give you an example of it because that's a starting point. All right, let me take this crap off because there's a lot of pop-ups anyway. Go
Yeah.
to Exodus.
If you googling that stuff, you can all you gotta do is just type the junk in, it should pop up another thing. It would so you won't have to keep like going in and out.
Well, it's
yeah, like
okay.
pop up another tab.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if it's like Google, you could just erase that and put the other thing up, and then it'll pop up whatever you don't have to like keep going out of Google and go back in the Google thing. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's
Yeah.
about like a extra tab.
Mhm.
Yeah. You don't have to put an extra tab, but you could just you know how you could just erase that and then put something else in it, right?
Yeah. I just do that because
Yeah.
Uh,
on this my Mac and I don't really have my mouse right. That's the only reason why I'm
Uh,
doing it on the
So
other
that should
computer.
stop you. That should save you from having to reshare it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like if
Well.
you go to one verse, you put another verse in, and flip to that verse, it will stay
hmm
on there.
hmm Well, let me go to this real quick. Start around the 22nd verse. This is Exodus 15, and this is kind of like more like a belief and faith, et cetera, et cetera. But like I said, this is like a foundational point how the Most High fulfills about certain things. So there's the waters of Moreh. So Moses brought up the children of Israel from the Red Sea and brought them into the wilderness of Shur. All right, and they went there, 3 days into the wilderness and found no water to drink. And they came to Murrah and could not drink of Murrah, for it was bitter. Therefore he named the name of that place bitterness. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" And Moses cried to the Lord, and the Lord shewed him a tree. All right, and he cast it in the water, and the water was sweet. All right. There he established to him ordinances and judgments, and there he proved, all right, he proved him, meaning he proved that Most High, it's like, et cetera, basically proving Moses could be, a good leader, and et cetera, et cetera. All right. He said, "If thou wilt indeed hear the voice of the Lord thy God and do things pleasing before him, and will hearken to his commands and keep all of his ordinances," what does it say here? "No disease which I have brought upon the Egyptians will I bring upon thee, for I am the Lord thy God that heals thee." I had to show that because, like what Brother Yasha said, like basically, you put everything with the Most High. You don't really, really need to have all these like healing bombs and doctors and all these things that ail you,
Yeah,
which is kind
yeah.
of true, kind of
yeah.
true.
I think that when in the Balm and Gilead story,
That's
uh,
what's
uh,
crazy.
the people have fallen, which means that I mean, like you said, if you was doing what was right, you were following the law, then you wouldn't have to go through this, and the land would be right, and the food would be good. But if you're not following the law,
Hmm
I mean,
Real.
the problem is not it's not just that the crops went bad. It's
hmm
not following the law caused a series of events to go bad.
Yep.
It
You got
caused
you
the
got
whole nations to collapse.
yeah, you got to stay in the Old Testament. You got to stay there. Don't even worry about the New Testament.
hmm Yeah.
Jaseline said, review what Jeremiah 13 says. It looks like y'all was doing it for a reason.
hmm Well, let's go there real quick. Go there real quick. I'm gonna try to do it your way. I'm gonna leave it on the screen and change it to that. Okay, that works. Just that I'm not. My mouse ain't too good on this.
Yeah, and mind you, that Jeremiah was the prophet. All of the prophets came as warners to warn Israel, because they came at a time when Israel had started breaking the laws. Well, I wouldn't even go as far as to say that. I'll say that they stopped keeping the law.
Yeah.
They
Well,
stopped protecting it.
oh, it goes back to those curses. Remember, you stop doing certain things. Guess what? Curses gonna come upon you. You know what I mean? It's gonna curse your the land. It's
And
gonna curse
also,
your
yeah, and
bowels and everything.
also, it's a time gap too, though. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta pay that in mind too. Like I was saying that time about the lands and all the time was splitting up and shit. Excuse me, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we gotta mind that time gap. That's a whole bunch of misinformation right there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's true. That's true.
So how far we got to read down from 13?
Oh, she says 8:13, founded in Jeremiah 8:22. Let me go to 22. I'm just trying to read it the context at the same
So yeah,
time.
you can read from 13 to 22
Yeah,
then.
let me read it from there.
Yeah, we
13.
don't have to vet it because I haven't read the story in so long.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to again, man.
I
You want
wonder.
me to read or
Am
you want me to read or
I
y'all got it?
You can read it. You can read it.
All
I
right.
gotta get my glasses. Matter of fact, I'm gonna
There are
highlight
no
it.
grapes. Oh, hold on. You got to
All
go
right,
down a little bit.
all right, all right.
All right. There are no grapes on the vines, and there are no figs on the fig tree, and leaves have fallen off. The people respond, "Why do we sit still? Assemble yourself, and let us enter into the strong cities, and let us be cast out there. For God has cast us out and made us drink water of gall, because we have sinned before Him.
right?
We assemble for. Oh, you want me to start? Or,
No, keep reading.
oh, we assemble for peace, but there was no prosperity or a time of healing. But behold, anxiety.
Mhm,
We shall hear the neighing of his swift horses out of Dan. The whole land quaked at the sound of the neighing of the horses, and shall come and devour the land and the fullness of the city, and them that dwell in it. For behold, I send forth against you deadly serpents, which cannot be charmed, and they shall bite you. Jeremiah weeps for his people, mortally with the pain of your distressed heart. Behold, there is a sound of the cry, the daughter of my people from a land afar off. It is not Lord of Zion. Is there not a king there? Because they have provoked me with their graven images and with strong vanities. The summer is gone, the harvest is past, and we are not saved.
You
For
know what
the
time that means.
daughter
mhm,
of my people, I have been saddened in my perplexity. Pangs have seized upon me as a woman in travel, and there is no balm in Gilead, or is there a no physician there? Why has not the healing of the daughter of my people taken place?
mm. Now
Because
that's a good
So she
good
stuck
point.
on.
the
Mhm.
people sin.
All right,
People sin.
It
People
go
all
went
right.
into idolatry. People did a whole bunch
So
of things that they're not supposed to be doing.
it go back to what the brother said. You know, if
Hmm.
you was keeping the
find the
law,
men and women.
if you was
So
keeping the law,
she.
you know,
My
we wouldn't
bad.
need that stuff. But they wasn't keeping the law.
Hmm. Well, one thing that's in common with this that also disagrees with that whole philosophy of that New Testament stuff is the fact that everything we reading
Boom,
from the Old Testament is telling us and pointing us back. Even
boom.
if we have such a balm that the Most High provides us with like some healing through some type of plant, it's still more dependent upon us keeping with His commandments and keeping with His laws, keeping with following Him and His ordinances and statutes and everything. So the actual
It-
balm itself is not the healing thing; it's
let,
our
let,
strong following of Him that it does it.
let's just think of a law. There's laws about agriculture. If you're not keeping agricultural laws, then quite naturally you're going to get I think the chapter started off talking about what happened to the fruit and the figs and the this and the that
Hmm.
and the this.
Hmm.
It, keeping the law, maintaining the land is a part of the law.
Yeah, that's why I was speaking on the sabbatical law thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, that's major too.
yeah, the sabbatical law,
I mean,
But
my bad, sabbatical
but
land that you're supposed to
we done lost
let the land rest for like 7 years.
yeah,
Mhm. Well, yeah, yeah. They didn't think about it. They were supposed to let it rest and everything else like that. But obviously, when they were there, a lot of times they were saying, you know what, we're gonna live off of the good we got, and shoot, man, we might as well continue doing anything. You over abusing that land. You know how merchants and stuff like come by that they were trading with and this and that. It becomes more
Yeah.
like the hell with this. You know what I'm saying? Like in modern times now,
uh-huh.
over abusing that
I'm
land.
getting away I'm
the
getting
way,
away with it now. I'll keep doing it. Ain't no harm now. That's just like us with the CO2 or
yeah,
whatever, with the ozone layers or whatever.
yeah,
Same
yeah,
Hmm.
difference.
yep,
Hmm.
Same
yep,
difference.
The
same thing.
sabbatical laws
My,
were important.
Jasmine said I use the Catholic Bible because it does not have the omitted text. NRSVACE is my favorite.
I like
Well,
to not.
the thing is, and I'm not going to disagree with her in certain aspects of uses of certain different manuscripts. The fact that, like, if we was to have an actual, what you call a one that we can
Tr-
actually
uh,
look upon, like,
trust the
yeah, that's the
translator, right translation.
right, right. Sometimes, like when I use the Septuagint, it does use what you call this thing called omitted text, and it omits it because maybe that text itself has been tampered with, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? Like if you look at it in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it might not. When they found that particular scroll, it might they didn't have that verse there. So what? A lot of times, a lot of these other different manuscripts may have a verse added to it that actually really was not there, and they put their own like philosophy on it.
Yeah,
That's
Yep.
each one of these translations are just that. They are individual translations. You know,
Mhm.
the
And
King James,
when
yeah,
it's flaw in it, bro, it's trash. When it's flaw in
Mhm.
it, it's trash. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
My
the
teacher is like this right here, bro. If your book Genesis 2:2, if they got the 7 days and they don't got the 6 days on there, it ain't the
Mhm.
right translation. Straight up, that's the easiest way for anybody can go ahead and just figure it out. Genesis 2:2. If they don't got the 6th and the 7th day right there together, there ain't
Mhm.
nothing. If they just got the 7th day, it's trash.
Mhm.
each
Uh,
translation is just that. It's just a translation. Each translation that you have is translated by a whole different team, you know, and they all translated based upon their own intellect, you know,
mhm.
which means that you're going to get different translators, you know, different
All right.
translations, you
Why I
know.
trust? Why I trust the Britain, because you know what I'm saying, from the it been from Greek back to, and who have been translated by, you
Mhm.
know, and that's it. That's the originality right there of it. That's the original. That's it. Uncut. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? The Book of Maccabees and all tell about what
Mhm.
all they were gonna do to us and how we're gonna go down and everything. And they try to hide all that from us, you know, through translation of the Tisdale and the Yahweh dude and people whoever else, and yeah, but
Mhm.
it's
Is there
just it
another
right there,
person on
bro.
here?
Mhm.
Is there an extra
Uh,
person on here? Because it looks like it's 5 people on here.
oh, brother for Carl Emerson.
Oh, okay. What's
Oh,
up
yes,
with
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
I just see
Shalom.
another block. I
Shalom.
just can't see behind the word.
Yeah,
Mhm.
shalom, elders. Come on, fam.
Yeah. Well, this one, like I said, this originally we are going to talk about Esau, but because the information in there, and I don't want to lead it to someone making an assumption pre-assumption of certain things. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just basically have an open discussion, and it's happened to lead to like the opposite with the Balm of Gilead, and then we're talking about different translations, which is all good. Nothing wrong with none of this. I'm just saying this is more of an open discussion tonight,
Oh,
literally.
Yeah.
So where
she's
we
still
go.
talking about Jacqueline. Jacqueline still talking about what's it called, who's supposed to take care of the woman.
Hmm. Yeah, who's
She's talking about
supposed
in
to
that
take
verse still in John.
it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that what she's saying.
yep.
Yeah,
She
I think
said
that
that.
woman that's just speaking of a spirit, but
Hmm. Yeah. But
you know,
like I said,
hold on a bit.
the bottom line, all of it goes back to the fact of we should be following the Most High, obviously, following his ways in righteousness, literally, and whatever laws he may have, like even Joshua says, like an agricultural law, it might be something about say something pertain
My
to
protection.
what we should not be eating or what we should be eating type of things. We all have laws for that. You know, that's what the Torah is like the guide anyway, instructions for that.
No, my
I want
perplexity planes have seized upon me as a woman of my travels. No, I don't think about nothing about we ain't taking care of no woman.
Well,
He
I
said
want
a
to
if you
say
want
woman
to
something.
know
does not need a balm or healing.
the actual context of Jeremiah, 8 is basically leading you to the
No, I think
Babylonian captivity anyway. So it has something to do with basically what went wrong as far as with Judah and everything in their land and everything with their idolatry and a whole bunch of things, not just
Yeah,
taking care of women, a whole plethora of things.
the fab. It's like the law is what it would hold the world together,
about the
but
whole woman thing.
specifically for
Yeah,
Israel. Specific. Can I be? Am I still on the air?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Specifically for Israel, it's like the law was like the fabric of the society. It's like the breaking of the law. It seemed like it caused like you just can't say it just you're just going to get one punishment for doing this, or even what the punishment going to be. It's like when they broke these laws, it seemed like it caused like a chain reaction of
And
stuff.
reaction, right.
Yeah.
there's people that can get away with. Y'all saw what they did to the Olympic openings. They had like the Last Supper of Jesus and the drink in front of the Olympic opens.
Hmm.
Y'all ain't said yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like a domino effect.
Since it's a bunch of us on here, then I'm gonna take off the screen for now because I think we're getting like a lot of glitches and stuff. But if something important, just tell me and I'll put it back up. That way we won't have no glitches. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was kind of saying about the sinning part, right? When I said like when he punished us, it was because like we came wicked as a whole nation.
hmm
We still had individual punishment. That's why he had people like when Moses came in, he had to set people up before they went to Israel to establish like law. So when people sinned against him, they had people that can sentence you and enforce it.
hmm
But when it came down, when him taking the nation away, that means we was getting wicked from all the way to the top to the bottom as a whole nation of people, and that's how he punishes us one people.
you got to consider when they came out of Egypt, they were I call that infancy Israel. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
they didn't all have it all together, so they needed a leader. You know what I mean? And then like later on, once they got a leader established, they wanted a king. And then once they had a king, everything was put upon the king and the
Yep.
priest. Now you think about it. Now the nation is under a
I,
king,
I,
is under a
I think we
priesthood.
just wanted somebody. We just wanted somebody to blame it on, bro. We wanted a king.
Well,
We want to blame it
well,
on somebody.
Well, that's what they
Yeah,
wanted. That's what they got when they did that. You got to remember
yeah.
a lot of times now when the king fell, like if you look about it from the two houses, the northern kingdom fell first, obviously, which made the whole entire northern kingdom itself go into captivity in Assyria. You know what I mean? Because
I
of
was
the leadership.
I'm over
You
here
know what I mean?
thinking about
And
how they
Esau was on west side.
Esau was basically he's his own
Esau was
individual.
on the south. On
Now
the
Esau,
south. I'm saying it was in the south. North.
you're saying as far as Esau's dwelling,
Yeah,
he was more on the like west side of them. I mean, he really had no
because
influences on them like that. You know what I mean? Because you got to think about it. Esau had his own inheritance too. It had nothing really to do with the inheritance of Israel.
Esau tag Esau tag Esau tag team with the Syrians, ain't it? The conquer us.
I would
He
say a
tag team
little
when
bit
they
of it.
took
It was
over.
intertwined in there with it, but you got to also think about the tribe of Dan too. You know, a lot of different
Mm.
aspects to that. I actually wouldn't put none of this on and even a conqueror. I would put this on Israel themselves. You know what I'm saying? Themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have to blame their leader because the leader should be the one that say, "Hey, stop this, stop that." And obviously, if he went into idolatry, guess
Yeah,
what? The nation went
you know,
into idolatry, and the
the
nation
whole
was still,
body. Yeah.
yeah, they all went. That's the same thing with later on in Judah.
That
You know what I mean?
domino effect.
hmm And they have a
Just
like
talk about that domino effect.
they have a actual Ezekiel chapter 23 basically talks about that in that chapter, like the two sisters, metaphorically representing the northern and the southern kingdom. How
Mm-hmm.
first, obviously, the northern kingdom fell first. Obviously, at one time, it was like a war between Israel and Judah. It was like
Yeah.
depart. The Most High said, "Depart from
A domino effect of
Ephraim."
chaos.
Yeah, because Israel was like
Almost,
totally
almost like a
united.
living hell.
hmm Yeah. I can almost say like similarities
Hey,
to
wouldn't you
today
agree?
with
Almost like
with
a
us and
living hell.
and majority of these Christians, Hebrew Christians. I gotta say, we like I don't want to hear your junk, and they don't want to hear ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause I think Solomon was a great example of if the whole nation didn't sin, but the king sinned, then he kind of kept his nation intact, but he just got rid of the nation from the king and then established a new ruler, right?
Well, the thing about Solomon, right? He was actually the last of the kingdom being as one. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Obviously, the kingdom split a couple of times. It split on the Saul too. You know what I mean? But Solomon's situation, it kind of went more with there was a prophecy that I think it was Second Samuel 7, where the promise to David that if such and such, when they go to his seed, if the seed would do such and such, they would be cursed or reprimanded for certain things. And obviously that happened during Solomon's latter times, latter days. But he at the time frame was the one that was keeping everybody together. That's why I think Second Kings 8 or First Kings 8 gives you good I guess good meat on how a kingdom should be well taken care of. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But then right after him, the kingdom kind of like split in two.
yeah.
You
Because
know,
he was gonna take the whole
Jeroboam and
thing from
Rehoboam.
him, but the promise he gave to David, I think that's the only reason why he didn't like snatch the whole thing from him.
Yeah. Well, that was called divine balance, where the Most High kept the promise that He gave to David, and at the same time, He also did His thing as far as chastising the nation too. That's why they ended up splitting
Yeah,
like that. But it stayed together, but split it. You know what I'm saying? You had the two houses, the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, which to this day, right, the whole entire house is been split. There's no haven't been really reconciled. You know what I mean? Now, David was the first
yeah,
one to reconcile the house when he became the king over the house of Israel after Saul. You know, the people said, I don't want to deal with this King Saul." Half of them left, like the tribe of Judah. They bounced with David. You know what I mean? And later on, Benjamin. You know what I mean? But anyway, David comes along, they bring the house back together, and then it splits again in the situation where after Solomon, right, later on, and then it comes back together, not as a reconciled house, but as as some of the ones that were the children that survived under King Hezekiah. You know what I mean? Sort of like a mini reconciled house. And then later on, it did it again because Manasseh effed up, right? He messed up. And then later on, it comes back together under King Josiah. And then obviously, from that point on, it really was a good house. And it's been like that for these entire time. Now, the whole so-called JC narrative story in the New Testament is he came for the lost house of Israel, right? Did he find them? Did they come back together?
yeah.
Obviously not. And it's still to this day, they're not together. So, I mean, like, people have to look at what was the New Testament narrative about if none of that didn't
You forgot
come to be true.
you forgot they all together in heaven. They in the kingdom of heaven.
hmm
That was nice, nice, nice.
hmm Imagine that. I bet.
Y'all
I'm
know,
trying to put
y'all know.
everybody's comment up, but it's like you coming in a lot tonight. So
You notice how
bear
they
with me.
said they all together in heaven. these people's heaven, these people's heaven is equal to Odin's Valhalla.
Man,
Have y'all ever heard of the
man,
Valhalla? That heaven the Christianity push is none other than the pagan Valhalla.
they don't
Yeah.
push so much. Hey, you can stream a YouTube on here.
Yep. Put the link in. Give me the link. Send the link in the chat, and I'll bring it up. Bring it up. She says they split because the tribe of Benjamin raped and killed a concubine of one of Levi's men. I wonder why he would have a concubine as the tribe of Levi. Interesting, interesting. Because I know one thing about the Levitical side of things. They really had no inheritance. Usually, it were whoever we say when everybody had their own particular inheritance. There was always a Levitical priest assigned to them, so they never really had any inheritance. So yeah, how would that work? You know, they shouldn't even have any concubines. You're right.
That was the reason why they got the tithe. The tithes was their money.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have no
Don't
inheritance.
say that.
That's
Don't
why.
say that. Don't say that because you know what ended up happening
Nah,
now. You get these,
yeah,
you get these little new modern churches excuse. They say, "Well, that's
yeah,
what the scripture
I
says."
mean, well, they've been doing it. I mean, you ain't got to tell them. They've been doing it. They've been doing
yeah.
it.
Tithe
That's
is
how they came
food.
up with.
Tithe is food.
That's how they
Mm-hmm.
came up with the jet lag preachers.
Mm-hmm.
They've
Mm-hmm.
been doing it.
She says the scriptures tell us about the union of the two sticks will be as one again when Yah calls us to come home from here in America. Well, I have to say that you have that is partially correct. The thing is, the thing is there is really a scripture that says about the union of the two sticks, which, like I said, the two sticks could easily come together. It's just that nobody else is going to get along. But as far as Yah calls his home from here in America, I wouldn't add that portion because that's really not something that the scriptures, take stake in. That's more of a hope from our own sake because not all of Israel is scattered in America. So I wouldn't home everything on just America alone. But that's a good concept, though. All right. Let me see something else she said. Said the tithes are not money. That's right. It's not money. They are food. All right. But they also had to take care of the orphans and widows. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a part of the one of the thing of the law. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
what we're
And
supposed to do.
it was like I said, they didn't have no
Yeah,
land.
that's why I like that we have a female and
Hmm.
They didn't have no land where say if I'm from Judah, I got land, I can grow
yeah, that's why
acres and stuff on my land. The priest ain't have no land.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
no inheritance.
yeah. So that tithes belong. It strictly belonged to him. Now the deception with that Christian is that he's going to tell you that that's the Lord's money. He's not going to tell you.
Yep. And you hit it right on the nose. That's what they tell you. That's what they
Yeah,
use as an
you
excuse.
know.
It's the
So
Lord's money.
you're dealing with two totally different interpretations and
Hmm.
manipulations of this book.
And that's why they so rad of trying to hold until what's his name that oh man, damn, I can't think of it. They try to hold on to that based because of who used to take the tithes back in Abraham's days. Uh, damn, start with an M. You ever get brain freeze sometimes?
Abraham supposedly gave tithes to Melchizedek, didn't
Yeah,
he?
that Melchizedek is what I'm talking about. The person I'm looking for,
He
Melchizedek.
was he was a
Melchizedek.
priest of Salem.
That's where these Christians try to steal that from, just to justify their way of doing it. In reality, it has nothing to do with them. Had nothing to do with none of that stuff. All right. She says Judah will come
they
first. Of
say
course,
they say
Judah is
my
the last,
Chesedek wasn't a
the
real
last, the
person; that
last,
it
the
was a
last, the
title.
last remnant left is Judah. The house of David. You know, and everything has been prophesied on Judah
Oh,
anyway.
I don't want to.
Genesis
Hold on,
49 and 10.
hold on. I don't want y'all pass it. I don't want y'all pass it back Chesedek then, because I want y'all to break that down a little bit because I've heard because I I've heard different people say that something about that he was a title then, or he didn't have a mother and father, so that's why he was like
Oh
Jesus
God.
and stuff. Can y'all break that down a little bit? Like who was Melchizedek?
obviously,
A
obviously,
lot of that
with
stuff they got from extra books outside of
yeah,
Melchizedek is only mentioned in Genesis,
right.
right?
Hold
So
on, brother Yash, hold on for a second. 1 second.
some
Like
Let me
was
have,
it
let
here
me have,
in
let
the
me have, let me have, let me have my funny moment. The thing
individual? Do
is,
he supposed to do his title supposed to get passed down like it is?
no, no, no. The thing
You
is,
know what I
with
mean?
people,
Because people say, you know, they have order at Melchizedek. They have places called order at Melchizedek.
yeah, because people mimic things. But you got to remember, when Melchizedek was mentioned in the
the
scrolls, it was only
Apocrypha and
mentioned.
Old
It was only
Testament.
mentioned in a small portion of because it had only just that
Okay.
time reference needed to be. It really was no big thing mentioned about him as far as his life and where he was born from and everything like that. But see, what they do is home in on what that ain't written, and then they create a narrative out of it. You know what I mean?
It, and you get that stuff. You find that stuff like in apocryphal writings. You
Hmm.
find it in Talmudic stuff. And you'll find it in the New Testament. You're only going to find maybe that one passage of Melchizedek in real Hebrew
I can't
literature.
hear them.
You're only going to find like just that one passage of Melchizedek in real Hebrew literature. Anything else you find in Melchizedek, you're gonna get it from pseudepigrapha,
Hmm.
apocryphal writings, and the New Testament, and some Jewish rabbinical stuff. Apocryphal writings and the New
Somebody
Testament,
has their
and some
has
Jewish
their they have to mute their mic.
rabbinical
Getting double feedback.
apocryphal writings and the New Testament.
Yeah. I think somebody's watching it at the same time. Brother Yasin, you guys might have to turn one of your volumes down. Like if you're watching the YouTube channel at
Nah,
the
I ain't
same
nothing
time, you might
going
have to
on.
turn it down.
I'm on.
Mm.
I'm on strictly through Streamyard.
No, no, I'm
One
talking
take.
about
Hey,
Brother
look,
Yasin. Yasin, I think he's listening to it at YouTube at the same time, so it's coming in on the double.
No, I'm only on through Streamyard and one
No, no, no,
tab.
not you, not you. I'm talking about Brother Yasin.
Okay.
Yeah, not you. Oh, I
okay,
forgot
because
you
I
got
be seeing the
Yasin.
junk. Cause I
Mm, yeah,
huh?
yeah. No, no, go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Now, Brother
Yeah, I was
Yasha?
saying, I don't hear nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brother.
What about it's all can y'all
It
hear
was like
everything
an
now?
echo.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yep. Go
It
ahead.
sounds good now. I don't hear no echo now. I forgot
Yeah.
what I was
Oh,
saying though.
no, I had it on the PlayStation.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, when you playing back at the same time as live, it's gonna like loop, so
he
that
talking about
it'll double up.
nah.
Okay. But anyway, brother Yasha. All right, Yasha been in the
Son or Yasha.
Yasha, Yasha.
Okay.
He was saying a
Is
good
it? Can you
thing
still hear it?
about. No, it's gone. It's good. It's cleared now.
What
I
was I
don't.
saying? I'm
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't hear
halfway
it. But
sleepy. What was I saying? I kind of forgot.
Basically, like what we would call
his drum
pseudographer,
might be
unknown
messed up.
writing.
Somebody got it muted until you do
Yeah. Unknown writings and stuff like we call pseudographer, or what you
Oh
call
yeah, yeah.
pseudo writings, where
Oh
we
yeah,
Pseudo.
yeah.
yeah we
I was
get
saying
Yeah,
that, that I was saying that the Melchizedek, you only real Hebrew writings
Oh, we talking about
basically.
Melchizedek, yeah, because
Yeah, I was saying Melchizedek is only written in that small passage in Genesis, like when you're dealing with the Tanakh, right? Which is what
Mhm.
I call real Hebrew writings. Any other mention of
yeah, because I
Melchizedek,
was
you're
saying
gonna,
because they have stuff like the order.
yeah. What happened?
Somebody
And
fell off.
Mike, he done fell out while he was talking.
Oh, that was Eric. He
Yeah, he
fell
done
off.
pushed the wrong button.
Hmm.
Well, I guess I'll finish my thought until he come back
Hmm.
because it was echoing. So
yeah.
any time that you're going to get
Pseudo
these mentionings about
Pseudepigrapher.
Melchizedek, you're going to get it from pseudepigrapha, the Apocrypha and the New Testament. Oh, and some Jewish. You got some Jewish rabbinical literature, which is
Mhm.
Uh-uh.
Talmudic stuff. But
Go back in
nowhere,
the living room.
nowhere in the Tanakh you're gonna get all of that extra stuff.
Mhm. Yep. Well, the thing is, right? If we were to stay within the Hebrew actual authorized writings, we would basically literally be dealing with the Torah and the Tanakh. That's why I call it Tanakh histories. All that extra stuff, like the Apocrypha, like you said, that's more like another nation, like the Greek nation, of writers connected with it. That's why I reject all of that stuff. And then
Oh
like you
yeah.
got like your Enochs and those lost books. When I'm saying lost, but when I'm talking about the lost edition books, I'm talking about the lost actual scrolls and whatnot. We don't have those scrolls, and when people come up and creatively try to say, "Oh, this is the book of Enoch," and this and that, these are
Mhm.
actually unknown writers doing it. You know what I mean? So that's why they call it pseudo,
Mhm.
like a pseudo writer. Of unknown. It's like the Book of Acts. It's actually pseudo, but it's been canonized in their New Testament, and they accept it. But it's
Yeah,
all
almost
pseudo.
all of that stuff in the New Testament is pseudo. They don't know who
All
really
New
wrote.
Testament, Ezra, Book of Jubilees,
Hmm.
Enoch,
Hmm.
all them fake books.
And they
I don't.
rely heavily
I
on
don't
those
deal with
books
the
because it helps
rabbinical
their
writings
narrative.
like the Mishdra.
Jasper, what is it? Jasper,
Yeah, I
Jasper.
don't like. I don't deal with them because yeah, I'm talking about like Talmud. There's stuff in Talmud to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which see, like the modern Judaism don't accept stuff like pseudepigrapha and apocrypha, right? But they do accept the Talmudic writings about Melchizedek and
Uh,
stuff like that. You know,
brother,
and
the link
but
can
I
come
don't
through.
I don't buy into that because they try to make it like Talmudic is like oral traditions that was
When
passed
it,
down,
right,
but
when it's
there's
not.
no evidence. There's no evidence of that. I mean, so if this stuff was passed down all of these years and
I'm gonna
years and
show.
years, you would have had more writings to validate that than just this Johnny come lately stuff. You would have heard about this stuff
Mhm.
way
Well,
earlier. You know
well,
what
you
I'm
know
saying?
what? You know what? If there was a one thing I was want to see in a debate is someone debate all those I call it extracurricular writings. It's just to show why should those writings be considered valid when obviously in our Torah and our Tanakh it only tells us to keep a record of our own material. Like you said, the Talmud and all that stuff. It is what you call converts. What you call manuscripts or convert sayings in there because you got to remember under the
Exegesis.
yeah under the influences after Babylon, you know what I mean, you had a whole bunch of different nations that was a part of that persuasion, and that's not true Hebrew, as far as it goes to the heritage, and then when they try to label it as oral tradition, that's really not really truth there because we don't have no scriptures that tell us to do things orally. I mean, like, does that make sense? When something is oral, it could change from between five of us on here right now. You said something, and I tell the next person what you said. I'm going to add my shit to it, and then the next person going to add his shit to it. And by the time I get back to you, it ain't got nothing to do with what you started it now as. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know how they was even thinking oral tradition or oral law, however they want to consider it, as scripture.
I got a good point. I agree with what you all saying. And in the Christian universities, they teach that. Like I literally took a class on it. And what they'll do is like something like the story of Gilgamesh. They'll take
Hmm.
that one sentence and say, "Hey, make a paragraph out of it." And the first time, like I said, I was reading up on it. I was like, "What? How would make a sentence out of one verse? I mean, make a paragraph out of one verse?" But they teach that in the universities.
Hmm. You had to say the main thing to give me another trigger. And now that we're all on here, right? I know one of us dropped off. And brother Yasha, this is right on down your alley because I want you to be the holder on this one. A lot of these new doctrines that's coming out right now are coming from people who follow all these other nations' shit. Like you said, they talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh. You know, that has nothing to do with anything of the Hebrew heritage. But I see a lot of brothers are pushing that. All right, and brother Yasha fell off, so I guess I have to take over. But Eric, you know what I'm saying. We need to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
some
You talking
brothers.
about you talking about how they you talking about how they use the epic Gilgamesh is saying is a part of like the Noah story. It's kind of like a paganism of it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And specifically, like we know there's a guy going around that obviously used to be on here named Hard Jarv. He's
Yeah, I've been
all of a
seeing his
sudden
stuff.
he's now starting to reject the biblical writings and go on with the what you call it Sumer writings, which is fine, but we don't really have anything connection with that
Yeah,
in the Hebrew heritage. And I guess they're just pushing this doctrine, and as long as they're pushing it, people are falling off, further off, further off, further
I
off,
call
further
it
off.
I call it the day doctrine.
Mm-hmm. They doctrine, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then you got
day.
like
I
the
mean, but
guys
see,
like,
that's why I'm telling them, like but see, they talk about a lot of this Mesopotamian stuff, but what they don't understand is Semitic people is one of the main people that helped establish that place. So you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, yeah, so they trying to
mm-hmm,
make it seem like our Semitic brothers and stuff don't have nothing to do with it. Like it's on they established that kingdom, but a lot of that stuff that they brag about.
you got to remember our heritage of writings is specific to Hebrew and those our people. It ain't had nothing to do with these other nations. So why would we have in our writings anything for the other nations besides them? You know, if they want to be part of our commonwealth, should learn our heritage. It's about it. But anything else, why would
Yeah,
we need to know what went on and you know what I'm saying? Especially
yeah,
Right.
Mesopotamia, because that's where Abraham was called out of there. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
he was
yeah,
called out of there for that reason. We shouldn't be trying to bring up their gods and their ways. Learn not the ways of the heathen. They're not part of our heritage. But these brothers like Har Jarv, he keeps on going in and going in and going in and hard with it. And not realizing, dude, the more you go in with that, the further away from the truth of your heritage is. That's why a lot of us that fall short of being Hebrews are no longer Israel anymore because of that.
Right. I got a
Especially.
point for that too, sir.
Mhm.
Like it says in the biblical scripture that one of us falling away and leading others. You know what I'm saying with them. So
Mhm.
it's all
Mhm.
examples in that with that.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Let's go back with the pseudographer. Pseudographer. Those are actual writings considered Jewish fables or other nation fables added to our heritage because they come up with a thing that we see like some scriptures leave out this and leave out that, which it is left out because it's not a need. It's not for us to know. It's not important for us to know at the time. Like the Melchizedek story only had just that limited feature there for that reason. We don't need to say, well, we need to find out who his mother was, who his father was, and this and that. Even though in some of the pseudographer writings, like the Book of Enoch, I believe Enoch 2, chapter 17, is trying to say that Enoch, uh, Melchizedek, actually was Shem, and basically Shem was a father, a mother, this father of this person too. You know what I mean? Which came up from supposedly Noah's brother and Noah's wife or something that died at birth. But that's all pseudo. It's not incredible there. Not incredible there. Just like the Enoch book, that's not really credible. I mean, even though in our scriptures we may talk about Enoch, but it doesn't talk about him being a writer. I mean, in the New Testament maybe, but that New Testament is pseudo. So why would we consider that? Now the book of
Did you?
Jasher, it's spoken of, but do we have a credible source of that? No,
Well,
we
the
don't.
book of Jack. Check this out. Did you know that for one, that pseudepigrapher translate is fake writing?
Yeah, fake.
Right. That's what it translates. Basically, fake writings. So okay, now if and the book of Joshua is pseudepigrapha, that book go back to that book is not spoken of. Not that book. That book was this book can't be spoken of because this book was created in the 12th century. Moses could not be speaking of a book that was created in the 12th century. Impossible. The book of
Impossible.
Joshua, and when we that's the reason why we as Israelites should be studying Hebrew, right? Because then we have a look in the Hebrew text. This is why I say my favorite the Tanakh when you read it in Hebrew. When Moses was talking about the book of Yeshua, upright, right? And the book of the upright was the law.
I think your mic is muted, brother Yasha.
Yeah,
You muted
no,
yourself.
I think it's lagging because I heard it.
Oh, I
Hello.
landed my plane.
Bad.
Yeah, I landed my plane.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that
it
link.
was the book
I'm
of
gonna
the
get that link,
upright. The
brother
book
Yasha,
of
and I'm gonna put
Hashem.
that YouTube on. Bear with me. I'm gonna get that link soon. Put it up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, this right here was something.
There was
You right
no
here was
book of
something I was working on trying to debunk because I hadn't started me a little YouTube channel. I ain't really posting nothing too much of nothing yet.
yeah, there was no book of Joshua and Moses tab outside of the law. You know, that was the book of the upright.
Yeah, that's a made up book.
Yeah, that book of the book that they talking about is something that you know how Christians do. They take the Bible, Jewish, and that shows
It
you
ain't the
that
Christian. It ain't the Christian, bro. It's the children of Lucifer, bro. It's the children of
well,
Lucifer. That's who it is. Who trying
you
to lead us away from the Most High.
well, what I was stating is that the Jewish rabbi that wrote the book of Joshua, it shows you that he could not have even been Jewish, really, not by bloodline, because the stuff that he's talking about is
Man,
way,
they stole everything, man, from us, man. Everything, our culture, our God, and everything, bro. And then try to make it seem like we the dumb ones. That's how they end up with this. That's how they end up with this Yahshua and all this Yahweh names and all this right here, man. Cause they don't know our culture. They're not like us. They're not like us, man.
they didn't try to mislead
Which
the
would be another
people.
topic I want to see. I want to see that come up on a debate. Let's debate where did they get those sources of those names from, and let's see
Well,
how true to
they got
scripture they can be.
Joshua.
For real.
They got the book.
Because look,
They got the book.
hey, I got
They got the book of Joshua from a book called the Chronicles of Jeremiel. Word for word, it's the same thing. You know that's more
a lot of
evidence that it's a fake
a
book.
lot of them writings too is from Romans times and everything, philosophers and stuff, man. It's like the whole book of Revelation, all that mess, everything, man.
I'm gonna
I
play
can
that.
understand we being blind when we younger, but when we older, bro, I ain't no excuse for that mess.
I'm gonna play that video you had put up real quick, and then I'm gonna address a couple of things in the gallery because there's a lot of things in the backlog. I think I need to address. But let me have to put that video on for a second. All right.
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yahweh, there's a thing. Okay.
That'll be like 3 minutes of it. Now this how evil the white. This how the people them.
Now, before I read this passage, I'm going to debunk the idea that God's name is Yahweh. Yahweh. How many Christian organizations you keep hearing saying Yahweh, Yahweh? So I want people to understand this, is that Yahweh is not the name of God. You got to avoid using this, because the more Christians use this term Yahweh, what you're doing is that you're supporting more of the liberals. Now, you might say, why is that, Pastor? Because liberals in their college classes teach that how Christianity
That's the
and
work of
Judaism
Lucifer.
got their name of God is that it's not from their own religion, it's not from their own God. They borrowed it through pagans. That's what they have to argue.
Y'all hear that?
In order to argue the Abraham and Moses got some
No, they not like
tribal
us, dog.
pagan god name out of nowhere for the name of their god, they have to mention this, Yahweh.
They
Because
couldn't read the
liberals teach
scripts.
that this came from a pagan tribal god. It's a desert god, they would call it. Some sort of desert pagan tribal god, which is why Abraham, a desert tribe, started his nation. Moses and the people, desert tribe, started their nation. So they borrowed it from some sort of
Pause it
desert
right there,
god.
bro.
Can I tell you something? My God did not borrow his.
Well, yeah. Now you see how they say they stole it from some desert peoples and all that right there. You know, we spoke what it called Drubber or whatever, and they couldn't understand our language and all that after they done conquered or whatever they done did. You know what I'm saying? So that's when after they done stole our religion and everything and rewrote the books and everything. So that's when they came up with the Yahweh mess.
Mhm.
But go ahead and press play, bro. My fault.
All right. You got to consider, though. I mean, I'm gonna let this play. You got to consider where are we getting this from. What I'm saying, getting this from him saying what he's saying, right? And it
Mm.
may be credible to a degree,
No,
but
what he's saying is wrong. Well, what I'm saying, even what he's saying is wrong. Even but what he's saying about the Yahweh name and what he's saying, like the desert, they called us desert people and desert God.
Mhm.
But this right here, what I'm working on, debunking him
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
him on the
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna
But
let him play, but there's more truth to that than what he's saying. You gotta remember what he's pushing. He's not pushing it from the Hebrew side. He's speaking from his
I he put it
Hebrew
on the
side.
bad side. Yeah, I know.
Right. Yeah. You
But
know.
and
Yeah.
hold on, let me see. I'm gonna send you another clip. This ain't what I want to send. I want to send you another one.
Send it in the private chat though. That way I can get it. You can pull it up easier, like how you did it. Yeah. Send it to the private
All
chat.
right.
Yeah, this ain't no dig to anybody, but I always think Chinese pastors are just silly to me anyway.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
just silly with it for some reason.
Yeah. Because you got to remember, he's a hater. He's a hater.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
obviously whatever he's sourcing up with, right? It's not really like would say from our perspective because I can get
No, I never
somebody
try to
from
put
our
that. He
side.
trying to say that we came out with the name Yahweh and we didn't. Y'all came out with the name Yahweh after y'all done stole our tablets and whatnot. And y'all trying to blame that we done came out with the name Yahweh and we ain't come out with the name Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
how they kept on putting stuff on us. That right there, what it is.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, man?
And you got to remember, there is some truth in what he's saying, but like
Mm,
it's his saying it. That's the problem. His saying it. You know what I mean? If it was
yeah.
if it was a Hebrew up there saying it, and I would even question the Hebrew saying it because he has to have an agenda. Got to keep that in mind because there's a lot of we call on the Yahwehism that will tear his ass apart with what he's saying.
No, I'm gonna tell him apart. I'm making my little short now. I'm trying to get all into download CapCut and a little mess.
Hmm.
I can't even find it.
Those in the gallery, keep in mind, I'm going to address a lot of things you're saying. I haven't put it up there because it's coming in so fast. But we're gonna definitely address a lot of
Oh,
the stuff that you're putting up in the gallery tonight. All right. Oh, we lost brother Yasha again. Dang, signals is all over the place tonight. But anyway, I'm gonna play it, let it play a little bit more. I'll
all
let it play.
right.
All right.
His name from some kind of desert pagan nobody. Now, I was in liberal classes at Berkeley, and they taught that. And when I heard that,
More workers of the devils.
You gotta remember, this guy's saying what he's saying. He's killing his own self. He was in a class with us.
Mm-hmm.
In our
Seminar.
heritage,
Yeah.
yeah, in our heritage, where they would speak that we need to go to uh, seminary school or classes to learn our heritage. When our heritage
Right.
is basically all written in the Torah.
Written in the Torah.
I
Ain't no
mean,
indoctrinating or anything.
yeah, you know what I mean? They sit there in these colleges and they sync up their thoughts of wickedness, you know what I'm saying? They compromise our writings. And then they
Don't tell
sit
them they
there
were wrong.
and have meetings on it. agree with the shit. You know what I mean?
And agree with it, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be like, dude, who the hell are you to be talking about my heritage? You ain't, you know what I'm saying? That's like if you think about it, like people talk about like the transatlantic slave trade. The only ones that can really talk about that literally and teach that is the ones that are the seed of that or the actual people of that. Anybody
That went
else
through
didn't go through it. How the hell do you think you're gonna be able
it. Right.
to touch on something like that?
Let
And that's why
let
it's
me
all softened now.
let me tell you about
I gotta go on the other.
such and such what he went through.
Mhm. You leave it up to them, like they'll paint themselves as the victim. Like, come on, man, please, please. Well, let me let it play. Like I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get mad and stop it a couple of times too.
I knew this before the liberals taught this in college. I knew that. But when I heard it at UC Berkeley, that confirmed my belief even more. And guess what? The professor was a Jew as well. So don't say that I don't know what I'm talking about.
I gotta stop him again.
There you go.
In our heritage, right? All right. Even though they talk about those Jew-ish fake Jews. When do like we sit down and have a course to let the heathen come along and we teaching them our stuff? Where does that come along in our scrolls? I mean, we're supposed to be a delight to the Gentiles. You know, like in other words, what we do with ourselves to give them an example of how things should be. But we shouldn't be out there teaching them. Why should we be teaching them? Like these heathens, they're very wicked, man. But the thing is, if we let things like this go untouched, you know what? The innocent see this and they think, well, this guy knows more than the actual people. And he's proud. You look at his face. He's proud at the crap he's doing. You shouldn't be teaching our shit, dude. Go sit down, liar. Let me let it play.
About here.
Some of them don't know
using
no
Hebrew.
better.
You can even look up Wikipedia. Didn't you know that? Even Wikipedia, an amateur source, realizes a basic fact like that. So let me read it right here. Yahweh was the national god of the Iron Age kingdoms of Israel and Judah. His exact origins are disputed, although they reach back to the early Iron Age and even the late Bronze. His name may have begun as an epithet of El, head of the Bronze Age Canaanite pantheon, but the earliest plausible mentions are in Egyptian texts that place him among the nomads of the southern Transjordan. Here's one source from William G. Denver at 2003b. The article is, Who Were the Early Israelites and Where Did They Come From? So you're going to...
Yeah, you can stop it up, bro.
They're not doing it all over the cage.
Yeah, but that right there.
Oh, what a little thing.
Hold on, babe.
The thing.
Hold on, bro. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know why I got home from work. But yeah, that right there what I was working on. I thought I had posted it on my little short thing, but I ain't never posted it yet. But I only got 3 minutes in. But bro, all through that right there, that was always all wrong through all that right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, bro, I'm about to I'm gonna still be on here, but I'm about to press mute or I'm about to check back with you in a minute though, cause I'm about to
All right.
call that girl right now.
All right. No problem.
But I'm here though, bro.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brother Vicar, you want to say something on that? And Matt Sanders, you want to say something? I don't know what happened
Yeah.
to Brother Yasha.
Yeah, I just had a question of that. The pastor is teaching, but I want to know from you all's experience, like what nation is he? And I mean, there's a lot of confusion going on about that.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own personal thoughts on it, but I just want to hear what everybody else say.
Well,
I mean, wait. If you ask SUVK, they would say he. They would say
He'll Luciferian. He'll Luciferian. My sister had sent me that link.
Oh,
Cause she think I call God Yahweh and stuff. So she think she sent me that link.
Well, let me say this much. Let's go back in time. Let's go back into a timeline of after Babylon. When I say after Babylon, doesn't mean Babylon is destroyed, but after Babylon, meaning after the Persians and the Medes conquered Babylon, which is equate to modern Iran, it's Persia. All right, the actual and take this as more of a gem than actually something that we could do a research and topic on. The Persians were actually the first ones that gave Christianity, their form of Christianity towards our heritage of people,
I agree.
because obviously when Persian Medes captivity came up, the Bible doesn't really talk deeply about that, but there was a captivity after Babylon, which would be the Persian and Medes captivity. So guess what? Israel did what? They learned some of their ways, some of their things, and
Right.
obviously later on you have the Greeks who actually took over from their point of view, right? And then even some backlash with the Egyptian captivity again, the second Egyptian captivity, obviously from the conquerors of Greek who conquered Egypt. What's the name? Ptolemy, right? So you're gonna have what you call a whole bunch of older versions of Christianity origins within all of these different nations. You know what I mean? That's why I
Right.
like when you talk about the Talmud. That's more of converts of Israel. That they're not really true Israel, but people they live by that. Oh, the Talmud, the Rabbi, dude. Those are not our people. Those are not our people. When we were scattered, like far gone out of there, guess what? Those that stayed behind and mimicked us, they came up creatively and they came up with their version of, well, let's bring Israel back to life. You know what I mean? As a nation, when obviously the Most High scattered us, so
Right.
that's not going to be. All right, but this is what you call an example of that. I
Right.
would say
A
he's
lot of
more.
Greeks.
He got a little bit of Persian, or he's Asian. Obviously, could be North Korean, could be Chinese. We don't know that because it's talking about the
Well,
modern
see,
name.
I think as
He
a
could be a Canaanite. He could be a Canaanite. You know what I mean? Somebody could say, "Wait a minute, how could he be a Canaanite? Because Canaanite's supposed to be black, dude."
yeah. Can
Little
can
do
can
they
you hear?
know.
Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Oh, okay, because I know my joint was messing up sometimes. Um, yeah, I was saying like as a historian, right? I could tell that he's not getting that like from no Bible, nothing. He's basically getting that from history, right? But what we had to understand when it comes to the name Yahweh and stuff, right? Don't history a lot of times, like especially ancient history, when it comes to stuff like that, don't be 100% like just one way. Meaning, you got people that say that Yahweh come from the Shashu people, which was Semitic people
Hmm.
that went into Egypt. Then they
Hmm.
say Yahweh was in Canaan when the Israelites in Canaan actually
Yeah, I heard
worshiped a
that.
Yahweh and they had a wife. You know what I mean? Then you
Hmm.
hear about that Israelites might have brought Yahweh in there. So when you go
Hmm.
into like stuff like ancient history, it's no just one way that oh it's this way. So a lot of them that don't really know how to study history, they'll take one part of it and say, oh, this is what happened. Not understanding that they all have an argument and the evidence of it, so it doesn't make it 100%
Right.
truth of each one. So you know
Right.
what I mean. So I can tell he's getting that from a specific part of because what he's talking about the Sashu people that went to Egypt. But I don't know what the
Hmm.
hell he keeps talking about nomad people. I mean, they was like nomad people
Because
that you know,
he's at the
but
same time he's kind
he
of
yeah
bashing it.
yeah
Obviously, the
Hmm.
two
he's not
different
trying
names:
to
the
say
desert
who they
people
are.
and
Because a lot of
nomads.
people, what a lot of people don't do is understand that Israelites were Semitic people, and
Hmm.
all Semitic people didn't become Israelites. so,
Right.
so a
Right.
lot
Correct.
of
Exactly.
so a lot of Semitic people still was carrying on,
Yep.
as a Israel. It's like the same God pushing in the same type of
Spiritual
language, but
practices.
yeah, spiritual practices. So they just made it. It's just like they once it became Israelite, they try to separate everybody else and try to act like oh these people don't belong with the Israelite, but they were Semitic people as well. They was of the Shemitic bloodline. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of people just don't push. Like when they talk about the Sashu people, were
Hmm.
Shemitic people. I think when they talk about the Hexu people, I think they were Shemitic people because I did a
Right.
junk on the Exodus, and I
Hmm.
was showing like it was actually like two, three Semitic tribes that went into Egypt. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And they was talking about how one of them left out. Canaan actually controlled part of Egypt, so it's it's a lot of different things that they don't really be,
Mhm.
and then we went to Canaan. We didn't kill the Canaanites. We actually lived among them. We actually was oppressed by them at one
Right.
point in time, but then
Mhm.
overthrew them. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's like so
Mhm.
when he go into, like you said, when you go into ancient history, it doesn't work just like, oh, this is what they said, this is truth. It doesn't work like that.
Mhm. Yeah, he's basically he's reading from a narrative on an agenda. He's not
Yeah,
really
yeah,
he's not reading from a heritage point of view because like I think he did say something in there about the derivative from El, the pantheon of the Canaanites. El. Little do he knows that when you think about it, right? Yes, the Canaanites may have uh known of the Hebrew God Yahweh. They might have known of that, but
Yeah.
that doesn't make it a bad thing or a good thing. It just
yeah,
he
yeah.
existed, right?
And
But if you notice,
El is connected with Belial. El
hmm
is actually a deity in Canaan. When we say
hmm
El is a totally different thing
correct, totally
when it's
different.
talking about
Has
it's a
no
different El.
connection. It has no
Yeah,
connection.
Okay.
We
Hey,
use El as a title for like how we could say the Germanic word God. That's
yeah,
who El stands for. But in their point of view, they had a deity named El. They had a
yeah,
deity named Yahweh,
right.
no doubt.
yeah,
But that's
yeah,
not our Yahweh. That's not
yeah,
Yeah,
nothing to do
yeah,
with the Yahweh of the Israel. You gotta notice something. What we have that's different than all of these nations. Yahweh clearly states that who is his inheritance? Israel is his inheritance. That's what
Israel.
he's concerned about. He don't care nothing about. He never even knew of these other nations. Meaning like,
Hey, bro.
F them nations. He's basically saying.
Hey, hello.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hey, Google that right there. Why that's put in chat. Yeah, Acadian Roar. Then we gonna come up with the name Yahweh right there. And
Oh
that's back
man.
in the seven. That back in the 1740. That back in the 745 BC.
Mhm. Yeah. Put it in
Hey,
put it in the private chat. That way I don't have to. Because when to do it that way, I got to go back out into YouTube. Just go ahead
Oh,
and put it in the
okay.
chat. Yeah, it's easier
I
Yeah,
that
I
way.
agree.
got it.
Copy and paste it.
Hey, I agree
I
with
got it.
Eric said when he was talking about how ancient history is wrote down. I was
Mhm.
listening to Judge Joe Brown last night on the Unscrambled Minds channel, and he said something that made perfect sense. He said you're gonna have 4 or 5 different authors and writers, but what it is, they all gonna have different opinions. But at the end of that book or the end of that whatever writing is, they're gonna come to a conclusion and say, hey, this is a conclusion of what our facts gather. So I
Mhm.
yeah,
agree with Eric said totally.
Mhm.
yeah. Because that's how it's a historian supposed to do. That's why when I tell
Yep.
people when I do my presentation, I speak on the critic side. I speak on the people that don't agree. I speak on the people that
Right.
do agree. Because when you
Mhm.
teach to somebody and you only teach on the one part, you're trying to do it in the best way to push your
Yeah,
agenda,
there's
and you're
a
not.
Yep.
narrative and agenda behind
Yeah,
it. Yep.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why. That's why. Like majority of the time, if we have like debates that come on our platform, and I'm a judge, and I'm not going to be judging on how good a person necessarily brings it out, because I'm going to be making it or basis upon like its information, and I'm going to look at, well, guess is this portion here kind of from a biased point of view? Is this actual more from a heritage point of view, or is this, you know what I'm saying? That's how I'm gonna make my judgments. I'm
yeah,
not gonna just because
Right.
you can have a book full of good info, but it's all
Hmm.
cross contaminated. It's all, you know what I'm saying, narrative agenda bound, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna just like, take that because
Yeah, that's
the,
why I
the
tell a lot of them
the
people that be
oppressor
trying
has
to.
conquered a lot of different nations, and what you think he do when the conqueror does, he puts his
Yeah,
flag up on it. And I don't necessarily mean that it's
Sure.
his shit. He just conquered, and they
yeah. That's
create
what
their own history with it.
yeah. That's why I tell a lot of people that be trying to debate me. I'm like, I don't debate. I teach because I'm not going. You're not going to be like, what I mean. Like, if we have a topic, right? I'm going to study the critical side. I'm going to study what the other side say too. So by the
Right.
time you come to me, I'm already going to know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Already
Because
here.
I studied that side. So I know where you
Mhm.
will be coming from because I know what the other side gonna say. So just like when I did the near death experience, because I believe that the subconscious lives outside of the body. I believe that's where the soul lies. You know what I'm saying? So when I was talking about that, the dude was like, "Well, critical. It's only clinical death only means such and such." And I said, "I know that. I got that in there too. I got the people that saying why they think it ain't nothing after this. I got the people that saying why they do. I got the evidence of
Right.
proof on both sides because that's how you really do research.
Right. Correct research.
Yeah, you do the bad side, the good side, the critical side. why they don't believe it, why they do believe it. You put all that together, and then you could determine why once you listen to everything to a full. You know what I'm saying? And that's how research is supposed to go. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people is on one side, they bask, and then they try to put an agenda behind it to make you believe what they want to believe because they don't want to believe what the other side say. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is.
Mhm. All right, I got that article. This is one of them. The Annals of Tiglath-Pileser. All
Yeah.
right. And it says, name of an Assyrian royal inscription documenting the reign of King Tiglath-Pileser. All right. After an impasse that had lasted for almost a century, the Assyrian king Tiglath-Pileser, all right, and then launched aggressive military policy to the west. One of the sources is the series of annals which were found in Nimrud. The following text is a fragment documenting an unknown year between 745 and 737. It is a known of NX 285, and the translation was made by Leo Oppenheim, German. All right, the annals. I received tribute. This is the translation. I received tribute from Kusaba and Commanding, the son of Damascus, right? And Menahem of Samaria, Hiram of Tyre, submitted in Hyle of Biblios, Riki. You know, these names is tough. All right, I'm just trying to script through these names.
Yeah.
He received things like the Queen of Arab, gold, silver, tin, iron, elephant hides, ivory, linen garments with multicolored trimmings, blue dyed wool, purple dyed wool, ebony wood, boxwood wood, whatever was precious enough for royal treasure. Also, lambs whose stretched hides were dyed purple, wild birds whose spread out wings were dyed blue. Furthermore, horses, mules, and small cows made dromedaries. Now, I don't know what you were trying to gain out of the article, but I'm going to show you what I would gain to show people. This article, if you were to use that in a debate against someone that doesn't believe in the Hebrew heritage, saying that Israel is fake and all this and that, well, this is one of the things you could use to validate in history that you know certain things that biblically happen actually happen. You know what I mean?
Oh
Because this is
yeah,
talking about the Syrian captivity situation, like prior to King Hezekiah. You know, in between the time frame of Ahaz. This is all actual credible
yeah. I
sources.
showed. I showed when I did the Exodus. I showed the artifacts of Israel being inside of Canaan. How it was a difference between the buildings, the temples that we had, certain the altars that we had. It was different from the Canaanite altars, and how it proves that Israelite was it. They be making it seem like there's no evidence and there's no it when it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
They
because
just yeah
they love to deny certain things. Here's that what it
Right, they
actually
do.
looks like. But
yeah
like me personally, I don't really get involved with those people like that that try to come up with their how can you prove Abraham was real? How can you prove such? I don't really get deep involved in that because you
Yeah,
know
I just
why?
laugh at them.
If you don't believe in it, fine, no problem with that. Go
yeah
kick a
Right,
rock. That's on you. You know what I mean? That's your business.
kick a
But then at the
stone.
same time, what they do believe in, right? You can question theirs and be like, show me a source.
yeah.
They got nothing. You know what I'm saying? They got nothing but a Chris Harris. That's all
I
they
mean,
got.
because most archaeology and most stuff, I don't see them saying that isn't that real. That's just the regular Negro in the streets that atheists and shit. They're saying that when I go into
hmm
when I go
Right.
into research, and shit, they have
He's a
artifacts. They
regular
have,
nigga on the street.
hmm
you know what I'm
A
saying?
lot of
Like,
these jokers are what you call sit at home on the couch researchers and travelers. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They actually physically went to these places, these museums, these places where the actual
yeah.
artifacts are actually found. They haven't
I mean,
went
and,
there
let,
yet.
and let's be real. Let's be real. The Israelis, man, they got a lot of stuff that they found. They have a lot of
And
stuff in private that they're not showing it. They finding stuff every day out there.
hmm Let me scroll back through the gallery because I didn't
Yeah, because
post a
I
lot
was
of
hearing some
things.
couple of stuff too. Yeah, because I heard somebody
Yeah,
say some
I'm gonna
names. And,
address a couple of things.
yeah,
I don't want to leave nobody out. All right, I'm going to skip the Ezekiel 37 thing. I'm going to go towards Jeremiah. At this point, I'll put this up here. She says Jeremiah 51 speaks of the war here in America that will occur. Let me pull that up. Let me pull that up. I'm going to tell you from the door that Jeremiah 51, right, has a timeline that it deals with. And believe it or not, ain't got nothing to do with America. But the only way to do that is to pull it up. Pull it up.
Yeah, that's one of those things they've been around for a while. What's the war gonna break out in America? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I never read it.
But you see what I had the problem is, and I knows what a lot of people are taking these ancient nations and stuff, and they trying to replace them on modern people. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like they trying to say, "Oh,
Right.
what you call this Babylon?" No, it's not Babylon. You just saying it's Babylon. It's not America. It's
Right.
not Babylon. Like stop
Has
that
nothing to do with it.
shit.
But anyway, let me read it. 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 And pull it on the screen and read it. And not to you know put something against her. I'm just want them to understand that the language that are being used here. It says judgment on Babylon. That's Jeremiah 51. Me automatically knowing how the book of Jeremiah works can tell you from the door that this is talking about that actual Babylon that you see in rubble, the modern day. All right,
Yeah,
which is actually connected with Iraq
yeah,
in that area. All right. Thus says the Lord, behold, I stir up against Babylon and against the Chaldeans dwelling therein a deadly burning wind. And I will send forth against Babylon spoilers, and they shall spoil her and shall ravish her land. Woe to Babylon round about her in the day of her affliction. You know, that's the timeline in it to the Persian Medes, the Greeks, the Archimedean Empire. You can go on and go on and go on and go on and go on, which is historical fact connected with that actual Babylon that's in rubbles. Now, how does that equate to if we should say that today we're living in America, we call spiritual Babylon? How is that going to actually be the same feature? Don't put your your mortgage on it. Don't put your brand new car payment
Well,
on it.
see
You're
what
going to
happened.
lose.
That's when I showed you the slavery effect. That's what one of the slavery effects is. I was telling you that our ancestors at a point in time started reading these books with the
Mhm.
Bible, and they start correlating the stuff with their times now. So when they talk about the Exodus, they was actually
Right.
talking about leaving from the south to the north. But
Yeah,
see,
they
when you
were.
teach that, yeah, when you teach that to a generation, they start getting passed down. They start
Mhm.
taking that literal and start saying,
Hmm.
"Oh, see, we living in Babylon, so we living here." And, they start trying
That's
to
exactly
trying
what
to
happened.
make they trying to put that pastime now and trying to. You got people that's talking about they King David now. You got people that's talking about they resurrecting the king. You see what I'm saying? Because they took everything and saying, "Oh, this Bible wasn't talking about an ancient people; it was talking about modern people today," and that's the
Mhm.
stuff that's going on.
What it is, they're also like this is from a prophet, Jeremiah. Nobody gonna take that away. He's a prophet. He is a
Yeah,
prophet. All right.
yeah,
But everything that he's saying, some of it is him being prophetic, speaking from the Most High's surety point of view. Like, if the Most High said something, it's going to be a sure thing. Okay. And
yeah,
that's all he's doing is reiterating what the Most High gave him about that Babylon, that timeline
yeah,
Babylon. And he's just,
yeah,
reiterating it. Just because the number is
Right.
put on it to say Jeremiah chapter 51, that's not necessarily saying that this is different from when he was talking about it in chapter 3 or
yeah.
chapter 6. It's
And
the same
prophecy
same
is
thing.
not all. Most prophecies, not all prophecies, is around the time of the people he's prophesying to. For one,
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
second, second, every prophet is not just a prophecy of a future; it's prophecy of a warning. Meaning, when I
Hmm.
did the people of Eden, when Never tried to say God made the people eat dung, I said God did not make
Yeah,
the
I
people
remember
eat
that.
dung. What he did is he took Ezekiel and he brung him and he burnt the dung and told them this is what how you're going to be eaten. This is what you're going to face when if you keep
Hmm.
sinning and and these people come take over your nation. So he was
Right.
warning people by presentation of showing them this is what's going to happen to you. So he burnt it down with the food. You see what I'm saying? So it was like a representation. He did not make people eat dung. And people like Sarnetta make you angry because they don't know what they're talking about. And they tell people, oh, God made you eat dung. No, he didn't. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's telling you that these people,
Right.
and I went to history and showed that people, other nations outside of Israel, actually cook with dung. So he's telling you when these people
Yeah, they
come,
do.
you're going to be eating what these people eat, and they're going to be cooking
Coffee.
and stuff like this. And then he showed you presentation, you could smell it, so you can understand the reality of it. This is going to happen to you. So that's what he
Mhm.
did.
Right.
It was
You can
Ezekiel showing
smell
a
in your
prophecy through
nose.
warning. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, like I said, not to put her down. This is
No, no,
Jacqueline E.
yeah, no, I
Bucks.
won't.
Not to put her down. She got to understand.
Yeah,
I'm not saying this to put you down. I'm just saying that a lot of this stuff that It's written in the prophecy, obviously because of the numbers, the chapters, number that they put on to things, in the way the when it's translated into English, they kind of like put their thoughts in it, thought for thought. It's not actually what was being stated. This might have been something that was labeled for a metaphorical situation. Him reiterating, like I said, chapter 3 and chapter 6. You know what I mean? You're hearing a repeat of it. But what ended up happening is, if one does not actually understand that and they just read the surface part of it, they can turn around and say, "Well, the condition that we're in today
Right.
reminds me of what was in
Right.
that condition of back then," and then they start pulling from it and start saying, "Well,
Yeah.
let's say, well, that's talking about us in modern times." You know what I mean?
Right.
When in
Yeah.
reality, that ain't got nothing to do with modern times. Now, with we are in modern times, we could take things from those days
Exactly.
and build from there, but we cannot like actually take like everything that happens as a result, as far as the when the Most High kicks back and does his thing to get us out of the situation. We cannot pull that from there, and it
Um,
becomes dangerous when we start taking that from like reading these ancient pronouncement and pointing to them on us today. When actually,
Yeah.
when the things doesn't come up and it doesn't happen, now what happens?
hmm
We're gonna lose faith in the Most High. We're gonna lose faith. We're
Right.
gonna, we ain't them people. Oh, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's what happens. And then you got
Yeah.
like the
I got it.
groups, like your sanitizer groups and the atheist groups that thrive off of, see, 400 years came and what happened? You know what I'm
I got
saying?
a good point of view for that too.
And you lose your faith. That's why you can't read these scriptures and thinking that they're talking about modern times, especially when it's a
Um,
surety, because sureties can happen at any time. It can happen more than once. And what you got to think about it, the curses come upon you if you don't do what you're supposed to do, and the
that's what I
blessings
got
can
to
come
say.
upon you when you do what you're supposed to do. So think
That's
about
right.
that.
You basically said exactly what I was about to say because I can remember in my younger days when I first picked up the Bible, and I from Jacqueline point of view, you go through so much and you sinning and all of this type of different stuff, and it makes you feel like that's exactly what's happening to you now. But in actuality, like you explained perfectly, it wasn't. It just seems like that because we in so much sin and what we got going on over here, and God whooping our behinds.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I agree. I agree fully.
Yeah.
And then you got to remember too, the unfortunate thing of the New Testament ancient writers, right? If you want to call them that, I call them commentary writers of that time. What they were doing, they was hijacking and stealing from our scrolls, and they was creating their narratives out of it. You know what I mean? That's why a good debate would be like these names that the modern Hebrew Christians call like Yeshua. I mean, not Yeshua, Yahusha, and all those things. We've got to ask them. Show me that stuff in the actual manuscripts. Where's it stating this thing? And then they're dead in the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they get mad when I tell them, man, your original book was made in Koine Greek. Okay,
Hmm.
so so it won't know Yeshua. You taking that name and you try to then Yeshua or
Coin it for your own.
Yahshua is because is connected to if I ain't mistaken Joshua, right? And
Hmm.
Mhm.
and it means Yah saves. So
Hmm.
Right.
How you get Jesus and translate it into Yeshua? Well, it ain't even the same name if you bring it back
No
to English.
connection. Yeah, okay. There's no
So
connection.
it's Jesus, and then you say Yeshua, then you translate it back into English Joshua. So what the
Hmm.
hell?
Well,
Like
like
that don't even make sense.
Yeshua is literally the verb or adverb of salvation. Has nothing to do with the noun
Yeah,
of a salvation. Nothing
Hey,
to
so,
do with it. But you know
so
how Christian persuasion they mix that mix this thing up. Now all of a sudden that's a name. Now Joshua, which is no J obviously, we can say,
right.
would be
yeah, yeah,
Yahusha. And Moses would call him Hoshe. That's Joshua. Now similarities, all right, because guess what? Joshua was the one that came after Moses, right? So guess what? They take
yeah,
that theme, they throw that
yeah,
on their New Testament character. Obviously Jesus. Now they say, well, Jesus and Joshua is the same name, when in
yeah,
reality it's not. It's like Yasha, well, Isaiah, right? Yasha is the Most High salvation, right? That's a title on upon his name. You
Yeah.
know,
I got a hook to catch a
Joshua the high
fish.
priest, the same thing. They still portions from that and create their character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they bring them to life in the New Testament. You know
Yeah.
what I
That's
mean?
why that's why me and Yasha did a video saying that who was the prophet after I mean who was the one that was unlike that was like Moses, and we showed it was Joshua that he was speaking on that no
Right.
damn Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you talking about that? Like I remember a dude trying to say that we was like, man, you telling me this Moses skipped all these other people that came, all these messiahs and prophets that came after him and talked about somebody all the way
Yeah.
in 33 A.D. Like, come on, man.
Mhm.
Right.
That's the thing about it. When you read the book of Joshua,
That's
right,
right.
it contains all of the details that the Most High endorses him being the one that comes after Moses because he's the only
Yep.
one that was a
Yeah,
prophet that wasn't called a prophet, yeah, but he's in the book of his book of prophecy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And the prophecy versus the book of prophet writes is not necessarily always prophecy. It's anything that is pronounced is considered a prophecy. Unlike
Hey,
how
yeah,
the modern takeover for a prophet is someone that could foretell the time in the future. That's not what a biblical prophet is.
yeah.
All right.
right.
Although they do these things, but that's not the
Yeah,
full definition of a biblical prophet.
a prophet like they were talking about now, but they would be considered what we call like what you call them people that the Bible say not to do when you conjure spirits and stuff
Yeah,
Oh, you
like a
talking about
seer or something like that.
seer?
necromancers,
Hmm.
yeah, the sorcerers, like they
Hmm.
that because they actually call on spirits
Hmm.
to try to tell them what's going on and stuff. It's
Right,
not
right. I
them
see what
like
you're
Or your
saying.
modern Nostradamuses and all of those.
Yeah.
yeah,
Those are not. That's a different. That's
The
not
book of Waspy.
biblical prophecy. That's not a biblical prophet. That's just
Talking to the dead.
yeah. Now it was called never command. That's hard to say that word. Necromancer.
Necromancer.
necromancer. Yeah, necromancer. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's why I got like voodoo. You know, I try to show like how voodoo. A lot of the voodoo stuff is mixed with the Christianity, and
Hmm.
It is.
how they conjure it. They conjure the Holy Ghost. They are conjuring the spirit just like voodoo conjure spirits. They start dancing around, going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Not
Right.
understanding they doing the same thing. It's the same dances. It's the
Yep.
same conjuring. You know what I'm saying? Because it was mixed in a time of slavery time when a lot of people came from certain places because voodoo comes
Yep.
from Africa. It comes from Benin. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So a lot of the
Hmm.
Benin people, because the Benin people were actually part of the Hami tribe that would they talk about the Amazon one. They was actually like the top enslaving people. You know what I'm saying? They was
Hmm.
enslaving other tribes
Oh
and,
yes.
and, and
Yeah. Oh
pushing them
yes.
on. Yeah. So you know what I mean? But
Definitely
they just
on
try to
our.
change the name to Benin, like people don't know who they are, but
Right.
Mhm. Definitely.
Hey, I got a
Uh,
question real quick.
all right, all right. Hold on for
What,
just a
what?
second. I'm gonna say
Okay.
this to Eric. I want you to put in the you know, it don't have to be next week or the week after next, but put into one of your presentations. Like, did we do a talk on the children of Benin and the
oh,
homie
yeah,
tribe and all
I
that?
got a joint. I already got one. I already got a
All right,
presentation for it.
get it set
Just let me know when you want me to do it. I got it,
All
already
right,
got it.
our impact the today's series is gonna be
Yeah, I
good.
got it. The homie tribe, how they connected, how they flipped to the Benin tribe, how they was the
Hmm.
top enslaved people. Yeah, I got the whole presentation.
Now go ahead, brother Picard. What you were saying?
Oh, I just wanted to know y'all thoughts on that whole situation with the young lady that was in the apartment. What new?
Oh, I was about to speak on that because
Yeah.
it's a saying going around the Old Testament. People saying like, because of her, you should know that the Jesus name doesn't have power in it, right? And a lot of Christians are getting mad, and
Yeah.
what they're doing now, they're trying to say, oh no, Jesus' name ain't got power because in the scriptures it said that they will kill the saints. So now
Right. Right.
we don't want to hear no more people say, oh, in the name of Jesus and Jesus have power, and we don't want to hear that no more then. Because now y'all trying to say, oh, y'all supposed to get killed anyway, even if you say his name. So, a lot of these people switch up when stuff like that happens.
Hmm. Let me throw another thing she says. She says the Canaanites were also following Yahweh because they are the children of Noah too. That would be truthful in one sense, but not 100%.
Now
Because guess what?
The Canaanites didn't have Yahweh until the Semitic people came in.
Right.
until the
Right.
Israelites came in. It wasn't.
I
It
agree.
wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't.
Because you got to
It,
consider this, that would be the same thing like you would say Japhet or Japhet. Japhet obviously was one of Noah's sons. You would think that he would be following the same uh, God as Israel. And on a normal situation, they would. But the focus is lost when you're further away from the family. Remember Japhet, he's the obviously he dwelt it's from the owls, and they started creating their
yeah.
own thoughts
If
and
any if
behind God.
anything, Canaanites, like historically, Canaanites had their own gods, right? And a lot of them worshipped Egyptian gods because,
Yep.
again, Egyptians actually went and took Canaan for a while. And actually, this is before Israel came, it took over Canaan. Canaan pushed them
Mm-hmm.
out and actually took over a part of Egypt. So
Yep.
when you get conquered and when you conquer and when you trade, you start to influence each other. So a lot of stuff gets over to you. So now you might start worshiping got a certain people that's worshiping this deity because you got conquered or you conquered them or you got trading with them. So now a lot of their culture is mixed in with you. You know what I'm saying? Just like over here, you got people that's Buddha that study Buddhism. You got people that
Hmm.
study Hinduism. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
that stuff came over here when other people come over here, then we just
Right.
start mixing in and different cultures start rubbing on people. So
Mix and matching.
but yeah, so to say the Canaanites didn't have them first, they was introduced to them, and then when we mixed in with them, we became we start sinning and we start worshiping other gods and we start putting wives on Yahweh and saying Yahweh have a wife, just like
Hmm.
some people doing it now
Right.
saying that the Holy Ghost is a woman. So
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
they got Father, woman, and Son. So now you see what they're doing?
Yep.
They trying to create a whole deity, three deities, but they'll tell you it's one. So
Hmm.
that's what a lot of that going on when they went into there. We got to realize a lot of times when we went into these places, we were sinning. We were sinning because we got kicked out of our place. Then we went into captivity where we
I
were
agree.
still sinning. So we had to stop sinning and come back to the Most High as one to get out of it. So
Hmm.
people have to forget about them parts.
Hmm. Now she also
Right.
says, and like I said, I'm not putting a mark on her. I'm just utilizing her, her, what she wrote because a lot of people have these same thoughts, and I want to correct a lot of it. Nebuchadnezzar was the same until he began to take the Israelites. I would have to say I disagree with that part because even though when we read Book of Daniel, which gives us more details of Nebuchadnezzar, et cetera, we don't really have the actual biblical uh, influence the state for that statement. So we have to like be careful when we make those type of statements.
What she was
Anyway,
saying about Nebuchadnezzar?
she's basically saying like the Canaanites were also following Yahweh because of the children of Noah, and then she's saying Nebuchadnezzar was similar to that because he took the Israelites. In reality, that's not really 100% true.
Nebuchadnezzar was what was he, Babylonian, right?
Babylonian,
Or
right? Which goes with her third part. It says Nebuchadnezzar was the first Babylon to bring war. That's absolutely not true. You have to go back to
no,
Yeah.
Genesis chapter 13, and you will see that well before such thing as a Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon, or would you say, actually existed? On the
yeah.
King
I mean,
Churchill.
we gotta understand this too. And this ain't on nothing on us, but when before even Israel was established, before most of these scriptures came, Babylon was created. Babylon
Correct.
is part of Mesopotamia with
Hmm.
Assyria and Chaldea, and they are one of the oldest nations that
And
they
you got
they
to remember
actually know of.
wasn't we supposed to have done something? I think maybe 2 weeks back about I think it was Jeremiah 6. We was
Yeah,
dealing with
six and
that.
22. Yeah,
Yeah, that guy's debate, and we was going to kind of break down the Chaldeans is under Babylon or Babylonia, but they're not the Babylonian as far as Babylon.
yeah.
Right.
All of us together all of
I
us
agree.
together under
Hmm.
Mesopotamia.
Correct.
So
And,
Mesopotamia is way older than the establishment of Israel. They're not older than
hmm.
the Semite was per se, but they older than the Israelites. They're
Abraham.
one of the oldest nations. So you see what I'm saying? So Babylon history goes beyond the Bible. The Bible don't have all of Babylon history because it was
Right.
actually
Hmm.
before them too. So when
So
we talking about their
Abraham came out of
kings,
there.
yeah. So when we
The
talking about
the
their
thing
kings, this king is way before Nebuchadnezzar.
Right. The thing is, you gotta be careful with that statement because you got guys like Hard Job. He doesn't have the understanding of things. Just,
Right.
just because the biblical history that pertains to the Hebrews, you know, it may be written down later than whatever the Mesopotamians used that pertain to them. Does not mean that the Mesopotamians are the first people. It's just telling
No,
you
no, no. They
that
the first
their
people.
their
No.
their their history, their stories, whatever they follow is their history. It has their born on date for them. It has no necessarily the
No,
same born on date for us.
Mesopotamia is just the only known. They're just considered one of the oldest, like complete civilizations, meaning like
Correct.
when the
Correct.
cuneiform and stuff like that. But it was older people before them. Like you
Correct.
know what I'm saying? They just don't
Mhm.
consider them civilizations. But to think that Egypt and Mesopotamia are the first people that had this knowledge and passed it
No,
down. No, this stuff was
far from
recorded.
that. Far
It just
far
was
from that.
oral. A lot of stuff was
Mhm.
oral first until it got
Right.
written down.
Right. Far from that. In fact, you want to talk about it as a whole bowl of package. You can say religion. The oldest religion on this planet is actually Hinduism, and then you think about it, Hinduism
Yeah,
comes from
yeah,
what the Semitic side of things. So guess what? We wrap back at now. Well, guess what? If
Right.
if 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 everything came from Mesopotamia that the Israelites come up with timeline, well, guess what? The things that the Mesopotamian get has to come from the Hindus, who
exactly.
comes
Yeah.
back from Sumer. It's like a
But
round table. You
yeah,
can't really
because
put a
that's what I
stable
was saying. Because
time on.
that's what I was saying. Because a lot of the stuff, I guess that's why she's trying to say that because a lot of the stuff in Mesopotamia came from Shemitic people. Like Shemitic people is what,
Right.
like they actually helped
I
build
agree
up
with it anyway.
Mesopotamia, and
Hmm
people don't give them that props. They try to make it
especially
seem like these
especially
people
the
just Hamites.
Thought
Chaldean
they
the
was wearing
Chaldean
out.
side the Chaldean side
Yeah,
of things. You got to remember.
yeah,
Think about it. Think about it. Before there was all of that with the Nimrod and all of that, it's a core. A core.
yeah,
The Elamites, basically, which is Elam or whatever, comes from say Shem, right? Then you
yeah,
have
Right.
Ham's side of things where Nimrod comes up in Babylon. That's a Hamite side. You're going to have
Right.
multiplicity of nations within Mesopotamia, and obviously when we say Mesopotamia, that is the modern name for Babylonia. All right,
yeah,
but Babylonia wasn't the same as Babylon. It just was a
yeah,
bigger
yeah,
province
yeah,
where a whole bunch of nations, like you say, the United States of America.
Right.
We have
yeah, yeah.
Chinese, we have Spanish, we have, what I'm saying? That's
Multiple
similarity.
tribes.
Like Canaan had seven nations together that they called Canaanites because their
Right.
cultures were all the same, but they was actually different people. That's why when Israel came in, we destroyed some of them nations, but we actually
Right.
uh, combined with the other nations that we didn't kill. So it
Mm.
wasn't just this, just like Egypt. Egypt is actually a bunch of tribes. If you go to the origin of it, that came together and created a nation. It's not just they just didn't always have these are people who got together and they created a nation together. Then what made it happen is they split up. So that's what happened in Mesopotamia. You split up. Now you got Babylon over here, you got Syria over here, you got Chaldean. Then they end up on
Right.
a war taking over each other. Then they became a part of each other again. And then what I mean. Then you now you had the Babylonian Empire. Then you got Neo
Mhm,
Babylon, which means the
mhm.
new
Yep.
Babylon.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's just it matters what type of like that would say history has to be slowed down. It can't be
Actually,
all put together in
actually,
crumble.
actually, you said a good point. You said Neo Babylon. It's more of the modern take on Babylon, not modern like
Yeah,
in the 20, like in this time frame, but like modern take on it, like from an ancient situation. Because
yeah,
Babylon had Syria part of Babylon too. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then later on, there's a new group of Assyrian Babylon. That's what Neo Babylon. Neo Babylon is really is combination
yeah,
of different nations. Just a modern time of it at that time, not
yeah,
modern times now. Babylon. Let me say it like this: modern Babylon today is no longer. All right.
yeah, yeah.
The closest thing to biblical Babylon today would be Iraq. And if, like I
Yeah.
said, Iraq, the Iraqis are not the biblical Babylonians per se
Nah,
from
I
the
think they
people.
if I ain't mistaken, I think a lot of them are ain't they like Turkish or something really?
Yeah, they like Turks and all that,
Yeah,
which is
like
those was all part of Mesopotamia. All right,
yeah,
it's all in
yeah,
that area. But Babylon, as far as biblical Babylon, that is over, done, gone, no longer.
yeah, yeah. It's done. And
Spiritual Babylon was
and damn sure ain't America.
right. Spiritual Babylon only exists because of Christianity. They
Yeah.
created that, in the Book of Revelation, and it
I
was
mean,
trying to make us think that
if
it's referring
America
to
was
like America. It has nothing to
if
do with the
if
biblical
America
Babylon.
was closest to anything, America would be closer to Egypt than
Correct.
or Greeks than it would
Hmm.
be Babylon.
Right. In fact, there ain't nothing in the book as far as the Hebrew that's talking about America. But like I said, you could take some of the prophets, right, that wrote about prophetic pronouncements pertaining to those time frames, and you can take something from there and work with it to, I guess, use for this modern times. Yes, no doubt.
Yeah.
Let me pull another one up. Got another new person on the panel, or I should say on the gallery, named Traver STL79. Says 219. Most High sets Jacob free to move to Israel and conquer Ashkenazi Edomites. Jacob disobeys and stays in Babylon. See, that's once again, that's just what you call bad
Hold on.
philosophy.
Say that again. What
Yeah.
happened?
It says Most High 2019, Most High sets Jacob free to move to Israel and conquer Ashkenazi Edomites. Jacob
What the hell?
disobeys and stays in Babylon. That's like I said, this is not really it's
Whoa!
kind of like
I ain't
not
never heard
really
of that.
truth there. But
Where he get that
not
from?
knocking him. I'm not knocking him for that thought, but just to see how things get all out of proportion.
Yeah.
2019 he was referred to like say the 400-year narrative that was false. All right,
Uh-huh.
was false, and then now is that he says Ashkenazi Edomites, which is I like the way he said that Ashkenazi Edomites, Ashkenazi Edomites. What he's saying is the fake Jews are Edomites, or the fake Jews are
Oh, so he's saying
of
Jacob
Esau.
as a nation of Israel, not just not Jacob, basically.
Right. He's talking
Okay.
about like
Okay.
talking about this. But that's far from the truth. And a lot of people have
Yeah.
fell
Yeah.
for that and are not too much better where they were in 2018. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's 2024 now. And people are still in so-called Babylon, if that we want to say, not because of that. That's just another what you call another excuse that they would use to say that to show when somebody says, well, guess what? That prophecy wasn't about nothing to do with America.
Yeah.
So this is another way of them
Again,
trying to
people,
justify
y'all,
something.
people, y'all are not listen. Y'all are under the slave effect of your ancestor doing this and trying to explain their condition and reading the Bible and comparing their condition to it, and they use a lot of this stuff as code. So when they say Exodus, or we in the Exodus, they are talking the code of moving from the south to the north. Everything in slavery was a code to be free when it was coming stuff like the Underground Railroad. So
Mhm.
when it came to pass down, a lot of y'all family ancestors took it literal and passed it down as a literal thing, and then these groups started coming out saying they King David or Babylon is America and this and that. You got even got Nation Islam where Elijah said he was the reincarnation of the real Elijah Muhammad that made the Quran. So a lot of
Mhm.
that stuff happened. It comes from this 1920, 1930 era when a bunch of cult leaders came out and started claiming that the Bible was talking about modern time when it wasn't.
Right. There's more to what he stated. He says the Most High Yah punishes Jacob by keeping him in Babylon. That's far
Yeah.
from the truth. And he releases vaccine. All right, that's coincidental that
Why is everything
vaccine.
why is everything Babylon when we was enslaved by a whole? That's why do people always pick Babylon? Why we was enslaved like 8 9 times in the Bible? So why is Babylon like the number one thing that people talk about?
Because a lot of the stuff is admixed from the New Testament. I hate to say that for Christianity. Jacob obeys by refusing vaccine, but can't fly to Israel without getting vaccine. And that may be well good and all that, but you got to remember if we read these scriptures 100% for the truth, and I have to say that, right? You might
Uh-huh.
find out that the Israel that's over there, and I'm not saying it to say that that's not Israel or anything. Get that to it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it might not be what you call relevant anymore. That's what I'm gonna say. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that's being that it's not relevant anymore, why would you need to worry about flying over there. You can go if you really want to. You can go with or without the vaccine. It doesn't
Yeah,
have
I ain't
nothing to do
taking.
with that.
Yeah, I ain't
It has
taking no
nothing to do
chance,
with that.
dog.
Yeah, yeah. It has nothing to
I
do
ain't.
with it. It's like Israel is actually the people, more importantly than the land. You know what I mean? And you got to
Yeah,
remember, I always say to a lot of people, you think that you're going to defy death because death is going to come before your ass be gathered. Because there ain't no scriptures that says, well, we're going to defy death and then go be gathered
that
up.
death. That's why I tell people death is just as natural as life.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
not, you could be. If not, you could be dead longer than you alive.
I mean, you could easily ask someone. He says, "All right, so you believe in the narrative that these people give you by stealing from these scriptures that the Most High is going to come and He's going to gather us and they're going to take us back to the land, but yet you still have people dying, being buried. So you think you're going to be among those ones that be gathered, or you think you're going to die like everybody else?"
Yeah, because see, I tell people you got to be careful with this. See, people got to be careful when they start saying stuff like that, right? Because when you start making, because I remember Apostle said one time he was like, "Yeah, Jesus coming closer and closer." Because you see, and I said, "Man, you gotta be careful when you say this stuff because once you get a date, once you get a time limit, once you tell people it's coming soon and it doesn't come, guess what? You are committing a false prophecy." You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So you got to be careful when you try to act like, oh, because I remember I interviewed Rabbi Lewis, and he tried to say Jesus was coming in 2024. And I
Can
told him,
you
I said, if you don't come in 2024, dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell everybody you're a false prophet
check this
because
out? Check
you're
this
not
out.
supposed to do stuff like that.
Check this out.
Yeah,
Traverse STR 79 says Babylon falls in 2025. Jacob did not obey the Most High Yah by leaving Babylon in 2019 to conquer the Ashkenazi Edomites. Now, I want to
false
say,
prophecy.
brother,
That's a false
yes,
prophecy.
can you
That's what it
show us a
is.
It's
scripture?
hype.
Can you show us a scripture for that? I mean, it's possible. I know you put this on it. Just put it in the same time the scripture that you get this from. Put it in
Because
the
he just
chat.
gave a date. That's what I mean. He just gave a date and said this. So if this don't happen,
He
I'm
just
telling you,
did.
you got to be careful with that.
Right. Take your time, look for that scripture, put it in the gallery, and I will put it up. And I guarantee you, if you could pull it from the Torah and the Tanakh, it ain't got nothing to do with 2025. It ain't got nothing to do with leaving Babylon in 2019. And it has definitely no association with conquering the Ashkenazi Edomites that we don't have written in these scriptures either.
I think it's a
I
blanket
got a
statement.
question because I always ask Christians this question. So if any Christians on here, I always ask, when does it get a point to where if Jesus don't come back, it's a false prophecy? That's what I want to know. Like when it's already been 2,000 years. So like
Man,
how much?
I want
are
to know
you
that too.
crazy?
Like
You
how
ain't
much?
gonna never get no answer for that.
I want to know the same thing.
You ain't never gonna get no answer for that one. You might as well forget it. They'll turn
Mhm.
around and say, well, you just don't believe. That's what they say.
Uh,
Instead of giving you that, we don't have no answer for
he gonna come, but it's maybe like he gonna be late, but he gonna be on time or something like
that.
that. What you
Yeah,
trying to say?
he gonna cover it. He gonna be late, but he gonna be on time. Well, you gotta
Yeah.
tell your loved ones that have been buried, long buried, that were still waiting. So what
Yeah.
happens next? But brother Travar STL, sister Travar STL 79, post that scripture, right?
Yeah.
That you getting this statement from that Babylon falls, and you don't have to have the 2025 on it. I'll take that and make it easy for you. But show a scripture that's talking about this modern Babylon that's going to happen, right? And because of 2019, those that did not fall for that, right?
Can I,
And then they gotta say to conquer Ashkenazi Edomites.
can I make a statement?
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like when when they post, things like that, I feel like they see the changing of the times of Israel really, gaining strength. So it's like to them, oh, we got to figure out when it's actually gonna happen. That's what it seemed like to me.
Hmm. And they're saying people have to realize that other nations, or the heathen nations, they know our book too. So obviously they're going to use our book as a playbook to
Hmm.
play out certain things because they know that a lot of people are so devout to being such and such with the times lines and things that's going on All they got to do is just make a little tiny little situation, and then these people will think, oh yeah, yeah,
Yep.
it's about to happen. It's about to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to remember that's all false uh, politics, literally, that they do. Just like I know the first time when Trump was elected, and he's saying that he was the reincarnation of Cyrus.
Yeah.
Cyrus,
I
Cyrus
saw
the
that.
Great.
I
He's
remember
gonna
that.
do the same thing. Well, that dude had his term, and
They
it
still
didn't
think
happen.
that now.
Yeah. Now they're calling him. They calling him the new Jesus. All right.
Yeah, because of the ear thing. The
Yeah,
shot.
the dude ain't got nothing to do with anything biblical. That's just
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
call, what do they call that shit? Propaganda,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hype, bullshit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no connection.
Yeah. I think the last word you said bullshit. I think that was
All right.
that's just
See
bullshit.
now, instead of him putting up or she putting up a scripture to back up with the statement, they says Iran, Ishmael. All right, this is where I got to stop. Iran is Persia. Okay,
Mm.
has nothing to do with Ishmael. All right, in the Northern Kingdom.
I'm done.
Wow, Northern Kingdom Moabites. Northern Kingdom is Ephraim side. It has nothing to do with Moabites. All right. Moabites destroyed by Babylonian Edomites in 2024. The Moabites, China, destroyed Babylon in 2024. You're putting on labels of modern people to be relative to the biblical people. Now
Yeah. That sound like
China
you
might
make
be
some.
more closer to the truth in Iran, if anything, as far as it goes. And I say truth in Iran, I'm talking about from the Persian point of view. China might be the Persians. China
Nah,
might be.
that sound like a lot like a camp teaching.
Mhm.
No, that don't
Yeah,
sound
that's
camp teaching
exactly what that is.
either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I said, post some scriptures to back that up, and I guarantee you, it won't be nothing from the Tanakh. It won't be nothing from, obviously you can't use anything from the Torah because Torah is mostly our laws. But you're not gonna find nothing that the Tanakh histories of our writing supports any of this. And yeah, you're right, Eric. That's more like some camps
Yeah.
push, one
Yeah.
West
Camp teaching.
type of thing.
When you said the Asian people, Chinese people was more bites, I said, yeah, that's a camp teaching. I already know that. I already know that.
I'm gonna skip. She says, Jacqueline. He says, "I am not forsaken." That's just pulling certain things. Let me see what Smashing Idol says. So all in all, who is Esau in this presentation? I've missed a lot. I happen to not.
We didn't
I
do.
actually didn't do it yet. I
Yeah,
didn't
we
do it
didn't
yet.
do it.
It's
You
been
did.
all over the place. The thing about it,
Yes, sir.
right? I wanted to go through certain things, and I don't want to give the people the fuel to start fussing and fighting, pulling their teeth out, throwing at each other. Esau, right, is Esau. Esau never was any other than Esau, and he
Yeah.
died. Okay, he died, and make the story even shorter. I mean, you can read the details by details in the scriptures. Esau,
Mm.
he had his own land of inheritance, and obviously that was in Seir, all right, which was a land where the Horites dwelt. And the thing is, obviously, Esau, right, his seed, right, what you call the Edomites, right, commingled with some of the Horites, but we don't have that to say per se biblically written, but we just assume. And they also intermix with other nations too. Okay, so literally to turn around when somebody say Esau is the white man, that's far from the truth. Esau didn't come out white. He was never white. There's no change of his complexion to be white whatsoever. And like I said, Esau died Esau. He didn't die as an Edomite. Now his seed, like I said, may have commingled with like, and I'm not saying this to be saying that all the white people came from Mount Seir or the Horites, but you can say pretty much that if you use your knocking. All right, not
Yeah.
saying that it has anything to do with the color of your skin or different people. It could be just the environment that they were in. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were cave dwellers.
Yeah.
The lack
Well,
of the
I'm.
sun, the lack
Yeah.
of the melanation that you get
Yeah.
from vitamin D from living in cages. You know what I'm saying? Made them that way. But that's no credible source that in the biblical point of view that's stating that the
Well,
Edomites came that way.
I'm
And so
gonna
what?
break it.
Japhet did the same thing too.
Yeah,
And
I'm,
some of
I'm gonna break
Israel
it.
did the same thing too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna break it down scientifically for me like 1 minute. So when we talk about, that's why I say Esau cannot be white because that shit don't fit with genetics, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Um, it teaches you that the skin color of white came from when a certain people who had melanin went into the mountains, okay, by
Right.
no diet, by low sunlight, by them living
Hmm.
in cold area, they body. Some people would say mutate. I don't say mutate. They body adapted. So
Adapted is a better
meaning,
way of saying it.
yeah. So they had to survive in this area. So their skin became lighter. Their eyes became a different color. Their hair became different colors, but they all didn't come like it wasn't one area, it was different areas. So you might have had some people over here that had red hair, you might have had people over here that had blonde
Hmm.
hair, you might have people over here that was lighter. So what happened is it's called the OCA gene, and they have 7 different genes, and each gene gives you blue eyes, blonde hair, white skin. So what happened is they go down. Say the people that has blonde hair went into the area with people that have the blue eye gene because it becomes a part of their gene once you change. So now when they connect, they'll have children that has blonde hair, blue eyes. They might go into these people that has red hair, these people with red hair might mix in with green eyed people. So now you got red hair, green eyed people. A lot of Irish people were. That's why a lot of
Right.
the genes have the red hair. So then what happened is the the southern Europe has had more melanin mixed in. So when they mixed in, the OCA becomes a part of their bloodline, and they went down into places like Africa. They mixed in with them. That's why Africa has more albinos than anybody because the OCA, if you get the OCA 2 or 3, it lightens your skin up. So that's why when you say African, they can be albino. They don't lose their features; they just lose the melanin in their skin because it's
Mhm.
part of. Or you have some Africans that got blue eyes because you had the blue eye gene. You see what I'm saying? Then you have stuff that skips, meaning um is a white that I was telling about a white family that was in Africa. They had the black one of them had a black granddaddy, so where his one of their children, that's their one of their daughters became black because genes skip. So we have to understand that you got the most high created us, so therefore they created genes, all this stuff that science just explain stuff. Don't make them think because they name some genes that somehow that science control genes. The most high created genes. So when we start going into this Bible, we can't just make it seem like God just turned people white and turned people black.
No,
That's not how they work. He
no.
made a system of stuff. When I say system, meaning he don't make every child. He gave you the power to for your seed to go inside this person's egg, and that
Hmm.
egg turns into an embryo, and that embryo turns into a fetus, and then it grows inside the stomach, then it comes out of you as a whole for a human. He don't have to make the child; he makes the system. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that's why a lot of people from here, from Africa, they can move to the islands, and what's going to happen? Their nose going to change, their
Hmm.
features going to change, their hair texture going to change. You see what I'm saying? And that's what part of evolution is. That evolution they talking about, we come from apes and stuff is a lie. Is I call it adaptive evolution is real, meaning a horse might was real small, but then he had to adapt to certain preys
Bigger.
that followed him, so he had to get faster. So he had to eat from certain higher trees, or he had to get taller. His jawline had to get longer from the food he was eating. That's called adapting, meaning you don't change. You're not gonna be. They talking about they be talking about a rooster is a descendant of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Like, come on,
Right.
man. How's that? How's
Yeah,
that
that ain't about
evolution?
to happen.
You telling me evolution is a Tyrannosaurus Rex that's 100 feet going to a rooster? How's that evolution? That's not evolution. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. It's not.
yeah, we got to understand genetics, and I tell religious people that don't believe in science, listen, you have to study with genetics because when you go into your son and your daughter and you say, my daughter look like me, my daughter got my nose, my daughter got her eyes, what you think you're talking about? You're talking about genetics.
Hmm.
Genetics
Exactly.
have your features, your eyes, your color of your skin, or your color of your hair. That's what genetics is. So don't say you don't follow genetics and then you're talking about your daughter and your son look like you. That's what you're talking about. Okay. I don't know.
Right.
Let me read something from Genesis 36, since we gotta address a little bit of the Esau thing. But like I said, I don't want to go into great details because if someone ever wanted to debate on this topic, they would have to actually compete with the scriptures. All right, let's go with this. This is chapter 36. I'm going to read from 1 to basically 20. All right. The descendants of Esau, and these are the generations of Esau. And obviously, we could go earlier and describe what Esau looked like from his birth and Jacob from their birth. You can see that he wasn't a white, a Caucasian man. He was always black. Anyway, the descendants of Esau, and these are the generations of Esau. This is Edom. All right. And Esau took to himself wives of the daughters of the Canaanites, right? And aided the daughter of Elam and the Chetite, and which would be Hittite, all right. And Olim, the daughter of Anan, the son of Saban of the Evite, and the Besmath, daughter of Ishmael, right, sister of Nabaioth, and Ador bore to him Eliphaz, and the basement bore Raglan. And these are all the names, Canaan. So Esau, he had different cultural wives, all right. But notice that word cultural doesn't say anything about color, because color is a social thing. All right. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of the house and all his possession and all his cattle and all that he had got and all the things whatsoever he had acquired in the land of Canaan. And Esau went forth from the land of Canaan from the face of his brother Jacob, for their acceptance was too great for them to dwell together. And the land to their sojourning could not bear them because of the abundance of their possessions. So, and Esau dwelt in the Mount Seir. Esau, all right, this is where you call him, he is Edom. That's where the term Edomites, where they dwell from, and his inheritance was in the Mount Seir. Now, Esau, like I said, a black skinned guy, like, you know what I'm saying, like Jacob, they dwelt there. So over time, you got to think about this. And there are the generations of Esau, the father of Edom in the Mount Seir. And there are the names of the sons of Esau. Eliphaz, the son, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to skip through all of that and go through 20, the descendants of Esau. And these are the sons of Seir, which is Seir the Horite. The Horites were the ones that actually dwelt in that land within caves, etc., at the spot places where Esau took his family. All right. So obviously, whatever he did with them, how he conquered them, whatever, obviously commingled with them, however you want to say it, his seed commingled with them. Commingled with more of a people that obviously through genetics and all this and that, not so much through change of skin by magically from black to white, however you want to say it. It could be in lack of the sun, lack of, Eric, you just explain it scientifically. He commingled with them. That's when you say Edomites. Now, those Horites, if you ask me, they might be the origin of the Caucasian looking people. Not saying that they're different humans than we are. They're just saying that's just the way the situation in their environment. You know what I mean?
Can I say something on this as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've been doing some research concerning who Esau is, or the so-called white man is, and there's a book. It's called Royal Archaeological. It's by the Egyptologist and an Assyriologist named Flinders Petrie and Akrbad Seiss. It
Mm-hmm.
says that, let me get it here. It's just taking some time to load. It says number 34 at Thebes, belonging to the 18th dynasty from 1550 to 1292, illustrated that the Egyptians believed that the Amorite, who was the son of the Canaanite, were white skinned with red brownish hair. It says the Amorites were tall with white skin and blue eyes with reddish hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that to be true. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at North Africans, like the Somalis or the Ethiopians, their
Mm-hmm.
nickname is called Dark Caucasians because they have thin noses, small lips, and thin hair, just like the so-called white race. And if you look at an albino Ethiopian or albino Somali, they look like your Norwegian or your Netherlands, the Northwest so-called Europeans. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the difference between the North Europeans and the South Europeans, like the South Europeans, you got the Greeks,
You got the Romans. You got or these are Japanese. So you got Greece, you got Italy, you have Armenia, you have Georgia, you have Iran, who are the Persians. Notice that they have some type of melanin to their skin. They have dark features, dark eyes, dark hair, and they are like a tawny type of color, like an olive, what they call olive color. But if you look
Mm-hmm.
at Northwest, like the British Isles, the Netherlands, the Dutch people, these people have yellow hair, which the Egyptians call, well, we call it today blonde hair. They have
Mm-hmm.
blue eyes. They have green eyes or gray eyes. These people aren't actually Japhetic, like what I just said earlier concerning the Italians, the Greece. They're actually uh, Canaanites, according to the Egyptians. And there's a passage actually in the book of Joshua when Israel went into the land of Israel. The Most High said he was going to send the Canaanites out one by one, and he was going to
Mm-hmm.
send a plague called the hornet. And when you
Mm-hmm.
look at the word hornet in the Hebrew, let me pull it up here. It says Joshua chapter 24, verse 12. It
Mm-hmm.
says, I sent the hornet before you, which drave them out from before you, even the two kings of the Amorites, but not with the sword, nor with thy bow. So when you
Mm-hmm.
look at the word hornet, I'm gonna pull it up here. I can't put it on the screen because for some reason it's gonna log me out.
All right. Is there a
Uh,
way you can put the link in the private chat and I can bring it up?
oh, okay. Let's
Just
see
put it in there
here.
and I'll bring it up. Look on there. It says private chat. That way I
Okay.
can copy and paste it. Let me take this off the screen real quick.
All
So that,
right. So, oh, you just want me to post the scripture?
no, just put it in the private chat and I'll bring
Oh,
the
oh,
scripture
okay.
up.
All right.
You should see a spot where it says private chat. Not the regular comment side, but the private
Yeah,
chat
the
side.
part. Oh, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I sent it. And
Okay, yeah. Joshua 28 or 24. Oh,
to,
that was the
yeah.
scripture.
So,
I thought you were talking about something else.
okay, that link.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm actually on StreamYard with my phone, and I have my son's phone pulling up the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try to send that link to my phone, and then I'll put it in a private chat so you can bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me. So
Yeah,
when you
but
look at the word hornet,
that particular Joshua 24 does support what you're saying as far as the Hornet situation. I mean,
yeah,
you got
because
the yeah.
when you
It
look at
says
the
it.
Strong's information and you look at the root word, it says stricken of leprosy. Now we know according to the book of Leviticus, anyone that has leprosy is unclean. It says that if you have a yellow spot in your hair and it becomes thin, that's a form of leprosy. And we know that your so-called Caucasians of today, their hair are thin and yellow, which we call blonde.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that scripture and I look at the history of the Egyptians when they said that the so-called white men are from the Amorites. You look at the scripture and it says the Most High sent the hornet, which is a plague. You put two and two together, it seems that the scripture is referring the Amorite people as the so-called white race. I won't say the Caucasians, because Caucasians usually are those who are living in that region of the Caucasus Mountains, like the Georgians, the Armenians, the Iranians. Then you have Greece, and you have Italy around the Mediterranean. Those are the actual Japhites. But those that's far up north,
Mm-hmm.
Ireland with they really pale skin, red hair, green eyes, or blue hair with blonde hair. Those are the actual Canaanites. I mean, that's just my understanding. That
No,
you
no, no,
know.
no, 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 no. You making good points. What you're saying because you know what when you talk about the Canaanites, I agree with that, but I'm not going to go with that same philosophy one for one with the Edomites though. But we're gonna go there. Like if there was a debate going on and you stated that what you just stated as some type of support, I would actually I would give uh, points for that. But like I said, let me read what you said and keep with the narrative like what you're stating. And
Yeah, and now Esau, I believe that
Well, hold on
He's
for a
actually
second before you go to Esau. Let's iron out this. Let's close these things out first. Let's close these out. It says, and he sent forth the harness before you, and he drove them out from before you, even 12 kings of the Amorites, not with thy sword, not with thy bow, and he gave you a
Can
land on which you did not labor, in the cities which you did not build, and you sheltered in them, and you vineyards and olives which you
why
did
am I
not plant.
ain't got working?
All right. But let's look at what you stated as far as the Canaanites or the Amorites. Now, I'm going to go to the blue letter, which to pull up that strong word of what the hornet is. I think Eric's the man signed his mic disconnected.
I hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to talk. I was like, yeah, ain't nobody hear me.
Hmm.
Yeah, I said I want to show something after y'all talk and speak on this real quick too.
All right. Well, right now he's giving what you call credible things for us, the Canaanites, because I've always thought that too a little bit. Anyway, the Canaanites
Yeah.
were, you know what I'm saying? Because we get into like some of those groups where they try to throw back, oh, you a Canaanite. Well, you throw it back at them. You're more of a Canaanite than I am, brother. But anyway, let me go to that in the Strongs. Meanwhile, if you want to say something, Eric, you can.
Oh, no, I just want to show something real quick after y'all show.
Hmm. And then we're going to get back on determining about Esau in that
Yeah,
same.
what I'm gonna show is about Esau too. So
Hmm. Let me get back to it. That's verse 12, right? All
yes,
right.
sir.
All right. Let me switch that out.
When you see that
And
word hornet, it say
hmm
sawar.
hmm I'm going to put it back on the screen, but in the blue letter form. All right. That'll be the 12th verse. All right. Let me see here. Tools on. Let me go to the
And you know the
strong.
scripture does say that the Amorites are
All
tall
right.
people. And
All
when
right.
you look at the actual average height of the northwestern
Mhm.
Europe, they're actually taller than everybody in the world. They actually their average height is like 6 foot and above.
Hmm. Now, the Hornet, right? The phrase the Hornet, right? That's H68880. Let me hear what it sounds like so everybody can know. All right, the root word, let me say it.
Strong's H 6880. Sir'ah. Sir'ah.
All right, let's see what that actually is saying. Yeah, get the number up. Sierra. Sarah. Collective
Yes,
female, no.
6879.
6879. All right. So let's see what it says here. In the following manner, absolutely a leper,
Yeah,
leprous. All right.
right there.
Now, like I said, in the debate, and if you use that voice, we going with the Canaanites and to express what you were stating, I would have to give you one for one. You proved the point. You get what I'm saying? Which would be kind of like difficult for someone to deny that what you just stated, right? Because you backed it up. You gave me something to show. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
That's very good. Wouldn't you agree, Eric, the mad scientist? As far as that goes, we're talking about the Canaanites situation.
I agree a little bit. I mean, when you said the blonde hair, blue eyes thing, I really don't agree with that part. But yeah, I mean, I understand leprosy is like a skin disease that
And
Hmm.
turns part of your
it
skin
can
to that
affect the
color.
hair as well. You know,
Yeah,
most
yeah. I
people who
mean,
are albinos, they have blue eyes, and then their hair become thin as well. Even vitiligo, it cause graying of the eyes, blue eyes, and thinning of the hair.
Hmm.
And it just matches which we read in the book of Leviticus concerning leprosy of the skin and the hair and the eyes.
Well, I tell you this much: this amount of information, what you're saying, as far as Canaanites go, and I'm gonna keep saying that expression with the Canaanites go, that would make them have to keep their mouth shut a little bit more now. Some of these racist groups, they're trying to around and say, well, you're a Canaanite. We're a Canaanite. You know,
Right,
calling the
right,
Hebrews Canaanites. Well, brother, you proved to beyond the shadow of a doubt to me, and it validates like what I've thought all along. The Canaanites were actually more of their complexion than ours. Now, Eric,
Yeah,
I'm
let
gonna
me.
turn it over to you for a minute to put yours up, and then we're gonna go back to him, and you'll see how he can tie that in with Esau, which he can't tie that in with Esau because Esau, like I said, he died black, he's born black, and that's that. Now his seed may commingle with some of those, and he come in with quite a few.
Let me know when you see it.
Hey, yo,
Hmm.
I really came up here just to, just listen because sometimes I just like to be up around elders, you know what I'm saying, just soaking what they got. But
Hmm.
after Eric is done doing what he, you know what I'm saying, whatever he gonna do, right?
Hmm.
Yo, wait, I was wondering because you said something that I don't think like people really have a full grasp on
Hmm.
when you talk about how it's evident inevitable that Esau was a man of color. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? It's inevitable.
Hmm.
But when we talk about the people thereof after,
Yeah, his descendants.
yeah, there becomes some type of you know what I'm saying, some type of discrepancy because people start to think like we trying to say, oh, it's this only specific people that is them when we know it's different, and we know that. Well, I believe, according to scripture, that he mingled amongst, you know what I'm saying, and then there's a certain dominant of people that
Hmm.
he has used to carry on his seed, although it's not his. Um,
His intentions weren't that. That's what you're saying, basically. But
that's
I get the grist. Yeah, I get the
Did
grist.
you did you get the
That's what.
share?
Yeah, I'm about to end this thing.
Oh, okay. I ain't
Yeah,
know if it
which is
went
a
to
good point. But like I said, when I hear people say that Esau is the white man, they're wrong. Because Esau, like I said, he died. He was born black. He died black. Now his descendants, right, share different features, not just with like the Canaanites or with the Horites, with all different nations. So Edomites may have be either some are black and some are white. We can't really to say that's not true. But let me play Eric's statement. And I'm gonna come back to you on that too. All right,
Let me
all
see.
right.
Oh, hold on. Went the wrong one. All right, there you go. All right. I'm gonna skip some stuff 'cause you already know what DNA is and genetics. We already talked about that. The features, the color, the hair. You know, so I'm letting y'all see that DNA changes all this: hair color, eyes, nose. Okay. Um, this is pigment. So
Mm-hmm.
a certain gene causes a pigment of the skin. This is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to show that these different pigmentations of skin from being in certain areas having less light, having this because when we talking about somebody's turning to a certain color, having blonde hair, blue eyes, we got to understand these are modern people. These are people who mixed in with other people with their genetics, and 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 they became a whole nother people. Like we are here. Like people here
Mm-hmm.
are mixed
Mm-hmm.
in. Where we have Native American in us, we got black in us, some got Jamaican in us, French in us,
Mm-hmm.
Japanese in us, Australia. You see what I'm saying? That what makes us so different. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Now this is the Lago that people's talking about. And I just want to show that what people are saying because when they talk about the leprosy stuff of Lago, these people don't turn all the way
Mm-hmm.
white.
Totally different, right?
They still have their features.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Totally
not. They
different.
don't turn into a whole European. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna read
Correct.
a little bit of this. um, let me get to this. Leprosy. Hold on. White people are not lepers because of the light gene. Is not defective or a disease, meaning Esau was not a leper. Leprosy is a skin disease. Vitiligo is autoimmune disease,
Mm-hmm.
and a light gene is a evolutionary environment adaptation. Leprosy is often the development of a pale pink colored patch on the skin. The patch may be insensitive to temperature or pain. Skin
Mm-hmm.
patch, which is considered one of the symptoms of leprosy, differs the color from the rest of your skin. In African Americans, these skin patches are lighter. In
Mm-hmm.
Caucasian people, the patches are reddish.
Mm-hmm.
So white people have vitiligo too.
Right.
Vitiligo causes a loss of pigment from a person's skin. A person can develop vitiligo anywhere on their skin. Symptoms of vitiligo include patches of the light or white skin, painful patches, and the depigmentation, sketch, sketchy patches of the pigmented skin. White people, as population migrated away from the tropics into areas of low UV radiation, they developed the light skin pigmentation as an evolutionary selection acting against vitamin D depletion.
Mhm.
Humans with light skin pigmentation have skin with lower amounts of eumelanin and possess fewer melanosomes than humans with dark skin pigmentation. Light skin provides better absorption qualities of ultraviolet radiation. This helps the body of the synthesis higher amount of vitamin D for the body process such as calcium development. So it's saying when these people we were talking about went into these areas and they started getting lighter skin, the hair got lighter, the eyes got lighter to adapt to the environment they was in. When they came back down into hotter and summer areas, it messes with their skin. That's why
Mhm.
people get this, oh, they have mutated people, but no, they have adapted to the colder area through generations to where when they come down, now they can't deal with the sunlight because their adaptation, their protection wasn't for the heat. It was for a low heat. It was for the lesser UV rays.
Mhm.
This is a light gene. See,
Mhm.
this is what they talking about the blonde hair. She don't have blue eyes. That you have to
Mhm.
have a blue eye gene. It's
Mhm.
not every blonde hair doesn't have a blue eyes.
Right.
every red hair person don't have green eyes.
Mhm.
These are genes. She would
I
have
got
to
a
mess with
question.
somebody that has the blue eye gene, and then now their baby could have blonde hair and blue eyes. It matters how dominant his gene is with the blue eyes.
Correct.
You
Not
know,
to
Okay.
cut you off,
I,
sir. I got a
can
question
I
though.
say something? Can I say something real quick? I wasn't
Yeah.
saying that albinoism and vitiligo can change, a physical feature on someone's body. What I was saying is that when you look at North Africans,
Mhm.
Somalis, Ethiopians, their features is different from the Negroid features, full lips, full
Mhm.
noses.
Mhm.
And so with the Canaanites being North African, they would look like their brothers. So when they was like just like the who was that in I believe it's in first or second Kings where the Most High God plagued an Israelite man, and he said
Oh
that
no,
your
Gehazi, Curse
seed,
Gehazi, Curse Gehazi.
yeah, his seed was gonna have that curse from
Forever.
generation to generation. So that's what I'm saying with when it comes to the Canaanites, that they were cursed with that because just like you said, lighter skin and lighter eyes is affected by the sun. Blue eyes, green eyes don't have no melanin, so they actually go blind faster than the average person who have dark eyes. So that's all I was saying. I wasn't saying that it
No, no,
takes
no.
away
no,
from them. I'm just saying that.
You're
Yeah.
not
I
saying
mean,
anything. You're not saying anything bad. He's not. He's not. I don't think he's
no,
actually
no, no.
saying
This is what I
something
Oh,
was saying
against
okay.
before
you.
you.
He's not saying
Yeah.
nothing against you. He's just validating, almost validating exactly what you stated. So that it's a good thing. It's a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You know what I
I'm
I
mean?
talking
want to
about
pose a
people who's
question.
trying to say that I'm
So,
speaking
so,
on
so
Esau. I ain't really speaking on the Canaanite thing. I'm
Right,
speaking on
right. But
Esau.
like I said, him. This is all great because it points
Yeah,
towards the Canaanite people. The Canaanites, exactly one for one. But
yeah.
before you go on, hold on, stop for a second. Let
Okay,
brother Vicar. He had a question he want to ask.
okay.
yeah, he really answered the question. He really passed.
Mm-hmm.
But he was saying he was speaking on Esau, but what I'm saying, I just wanted to pose the question of far as like he says that DNA over a period of time, times location or depends on what you eat or whatever, whatnot. But like, how do you explain the tail that some people are born with? And that's the reason why they try to say, the evolution of chimpanzees, you know what I'm saying? So how do
Yeah,
people
Yeah,
boy.
break that
Yeah,
one
boy.
down?
Well, see,
yeah.
that's where you go back into like what I was stating before the Horites, a little bit different. Sometimes we call them
Yeah.
Neanderthals or
I
stuff
mean,
like that. So yeah, they may have that, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah. I mean,
feature
the
or feat.
Neanderthals, yeah, Neanderthals still because Neanderthals were different type of a species. They not really modern. They wasn't the modern people. They was more like the people who died off to help the modern
Mm-hmm.
people come. So some people,
Mm-hmm.
more of them have a Neanderthal in them, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand genetics and chromosomes do mess up. You got people out here that has a X and a double Y. You see what I'm
That's
saying? You have
I
people out
like
here
the way
that
I like the way you said it. It's a scientific form, but let's stop for a
okay.
second. and visit that. Let's visit that in the biblical form, because I think I said it before. Earlier, I said the
Yeah,
Hittite, the Evites. You know those ITEs on the end of those things.
yeah,
Those are all basically a synopsis of those people, like Horite. All those things are there, so you got to remember those. If you want to pretty much put it, a label on it, they're more like Neanderthals or troglodytes, even though we have some troglodytes that's supposed to
yeah.
have melanin to their skin. But those are all that species. Not saying that
Yeah,
they're different, they're not humans. It's, I guess, more of a cave
yeah, they're
dwellers
not because a
type of
human is a
setting.
modern human is. That's why I say
Mhm.
human is a modern term to where is where a bunch of stuff got together, where the Homo sapiens and stuff got together, and created the modern human we know today. But then you had these other type of beings that they wouldn't could be considered humans, but they are I guess you would say part of to where they can breed with these people. So some of them breeded with them, and they
Hmm.
had them genes that some
Correct.
people don't
Key
have.
word. Them genes, those
Yeah,
genes, those genes, those
yeah,
genes.
some
Because
genes
guess
is
what?
with them.
Right. So guess what? If we all on this panel at the same time, we could all think agree with. You could say that specifically, who has that gene more than anyone on the planet? Is it the people of melanation or the people of non-melanated?
I'm gonna say non-African and or non so-called black people because I mean
Wow.
I think
That's what
it's
I'm going to say too. That's
yeah
what I'm going to say too.
yeah.
I mean, don't be ashamed to say it because it's being
No,
truthful.
no, I mean I'm gonna say because I'm gonna say is other people like that's got melanin in their skin, but they not black people that might have that gene in them too. Other than you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Hmm.
I guess you know what I mean. So I
I don't
think
want I don't
I
want people
think
to
the
go
more you
around
go down into
looking at their backside to see if they got a tail coming out.
yeah
Hey,
Relax,
yeah
relax.
I got I got a philosophy on that, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
No, no, go ahead. It's
No,
just
no,
open,
I ain't. No, I really don't even want to say that because I know somebody gonna run with it. I'm gonna leave it alone until a later date.
I mean,
But I want.
I heard aliens. Man, I don't heard aliens
Yeah,
breeding
not
with
that.
monkeys, all type of stuff. You know what I mean? I heard,
Nah.
you
Well,
know what I'm saying?
I just said, hey, why not? You know what I'm saying? It's an open panel. So my philosophy is it ties. I feel like it ties with two things. One of the
Mhm.
thing is if them those tribal people that like to eat blood, you know, because
Mhm.
clearly it says in the biblical account saying, hey, you should not eat the blood because the blood is the life, you know, of
Mhm.
a person. And then my
Mhm.
next one is like, what happens if those same people that like to eat blood started practicing bestiality, another concept that's
Oh
in the biblical book
God!
that
Don't
said,
say that.
no, no,
Don't
no,
say
no,
that.
no, hold on, not like that, not, hold on,
I can
not,
see it tomorrow. I can see it
hold
tomorrow.
on, not in the sense that they mating with monkeys and having monkey babies because
Mhm.
that's impossible. But in a
Mhm.
sense of what they were doing, I feel like it ties back to ancient Mesopotamia. They were actually trying to. I ain't gonna say it because I don't want nobody to try to steal it yet because I ain't did enough research on myself.
Don't
I'm gonna
worry.
leave it at that though.
Don't worry. They're already in the little boiling pot.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
leave it.
yeah.
I'm gonna leave it like that though.
Like me having this picture on the screen with
But
the
I
privilege.
mean, I tell people, you know, they can say this stuff, right? But we can breed with these people. People say we can't. I know people that breed it. So these people breed it so to make it seem like that they're a whole different type of people than us. It can't be true because we wouldn't be able to breed with them. Just like we
Mhm.
couldn't breed with an ape or a monkey. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying? It just the genetics. Some genetics they might have them is different than other people's genetics. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it just makes and then I said like a lot of different births come like people have different chromosomes, like people have double chromosomes, and you got defective genes. You got people that come out looking like a wolf. You know what I mean? I can show this black girl, I can show this black girl her whole side of her face look like a wolf,
You
and
talking
this
about all
white
the
dude,
hair on her face? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's called the wolf.
Mhm.
It's called the wolf gene because you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying. It's a joint that makes you grow hair at a spot that you don't supposed to grow hair at. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
so
So it's
can I
like,
ask you this question, Eric?
yeah.
So what would happen if let's say if I'm just gonna say it, man. What would happen if a female um engages in intercourse with let's say a
Oh
polar bear
boy.
or
So
Oh boy.
a
say with a
dog or
what? I
something
couldn't
like
hear.
that?
I couldn't hear you, DOA.
No,
I
because
couldn't.
I'm from a town where that has happened, where females
Yeah,
engage sexually with a dog.
yeah,
Which
exactly.
wasn't
I was
good.
gonna say
Wasn't
that.
good. I can
I
say
mean,
that
what?
much.
So, I mean, you said what would happen?
No, no. Let me say it. So, what would happen if, let's say, okay, I'm gonna break it down. So, how long do you think that the sperm stays inside of a woman's you know, private
Well,
parts after she would have sex?
well, I mean, a
Almost
male.
like incubation.
I think a male sperm stays up to like 3 to 5 days, if I'm mistaken.
Hmm.
So,
So what?
I
So
don't.
what would happen if, let's say, this woman let a polar bear, you know, have sex with her, and she goes after she have sex with this polar bear. Let's say this man come behind her
Uh
less
huh.
than a day or two, and inseminates her and get her pregnant.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well,
Cross
well,
semination, baby. Cross semination.
well. We would have to understand how sperm works, right? Because sperm has a sperm that looks like liquid has individual sperms in it. So it is that one sperm that actually goes inside the egg that the egg allows it to go in. So it wouldn't
Mhm.
be. It would have to be of that polar bear sperm with this
All that
sperm
man.
have
It
to
ain't gonna
go
be a
in.
mix. It ain't gonna be no
Yeah,
mix.
yeah, they wouldn't
Ain't
be.
gonna be no
They would
mix.
both have to go inside the egg. Then they can mix inside the egg, but the egg only allows one sperm to go in.
One sperm.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the
Yeah.
sperm can duplicate, and that's where like twins come from. Meaning it could
Well,
clone itself.
let's don't get too deep into this because we almost at
Okay,
the
okay,
3 hour mark,
yeah.
and it's getting good as it
I'm
getting
gonna
closer
back up
to the
off it
end.
now. I'm back
Okay,
But
off it now.
we definitely gonna have to do a part two of this. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I'm gonna
let's
skip some of the parts. I ain't gonna go too far, but this right here, this is what we was talking about. The albinoism in European lesson one, Northern European affected by the AOCA2. Mixing in with the darker skinned Europeans in Central South Europe make them light by giving them genes. Most of us think Europe as the ancestral home of white people, but the new study shows that the pale skin, as well as other traits such as tallness and the ability to digest milk, as adults arrived in most of the continent, rather European skin developed to be much lighter during the past 8,000 years. The modern humans who came out of Africa to originally settle in Europe about 40,000 years are presumed to have had dark skin, which is an advantage in sunny latitudes. And the new data confirm that about 8,500 years ago, early hunter gatherers in Spain, Luxembourg, and Hungary also had a darker skin in Spain. Luxembourg and Hungary also had darker skin. They lacked versions of two genes, the SLC24A5 and the SLC45A2, that led to the depigmentation and therefore pale skin of Europeans today. But in the far north, where the low light levels were favor pale skin, the team found a different picture in a hunter gathered seven people of the 7,700-year-old Matola archaeological site in southern Sweden had both the light skinned gene variants, and they also had a third gene, the OCA2, which causes blue eyes and may have contributed to light skin and blonde hair. Thus, ancient hunter gatherers of the far north were already pale and blue eyed, but those of central southern Europe had darker skin. So it's talking about when they went up the north, how they skin and the eyes changed from the OC2. So the OC2 can actually make the pale skin and make a blue eyes. Then you got like the OC3, I think that was makes the red hair. Then you got the OC, I think OC4 or 5 that causes the blonde hair. But all of them them one people didn't have all them genes. It was other people that had the different genes that was in different areas. So when they mix them together, that's when you get the modern European now that has the blonde hair, blue eyes, the red hair, the green eyes, stuff like that. But this is the albinism right here, right? So this is the three different albinos that I'm showing. It's actually up to seven. But you see right here, this albino's at the bottom, he's red, right? He got like reddish hair. Well, I don't know what color that is, like brownish reddish hair. That's his son, right? You see, but you see the features. You could tell that they are what black people. This is what this
Right.
one with this dot on his head. What that is right there? Y'all know what that nationality that is?
India.
That's up. See, because you could tell by what the features, right? It's
Right.
this is an Indian woman that just has albinism, so you can still see the feature. And this is what? This is a modern. This is a white person with albinism. You know what I'm saying? So this is actually a white person that has full albinism. That's why her whole hair,
Yeah, I
everything is
agree.
white on her. Okay, so you read this right here. It's called the OCA gene, which, when mixed with black nations, create albinism. Y'all did not just mix so-called white people. White people were darker people, but lost their
Right.
melanin and mixed in with other people with the OCAs, created red hair, lighter skin, blue eyes, etc. And the white gene OCA is older than Esau. Three types of albinism. There are three types. And check this out. OC1, OCA1, extreme albinism, lack of melanin. OCA2, typical albinism. Some small measure of melanin. That's why he's like red, because he still has melanin. Okay. OCA3, moderate albinism, some melanin, but far less than normal. Now check this one at the end. Any black with straight type hair and a defective OC2 gene will produce an offspring that is identical to, and in fact is, a European type offspring. So this is
Mm-hmm.
where it comes from, when people trying to say black people could create a European. No, it's a the two black people with straight hair that has that has mixed, meaning both of their, one of their parents is white, one of their parents is black, and the
Right.
woman and the husband and the wife both have to have mixed parents, straight hair, an effective
Right.
OC2 gene. They can actually create a European looking baby that looks just like a European.
Right.
Okay, so I just want to show. Let me see. I ain't gonna go too. I'm just showing. I just showed. I don't want to go too.
Don't get too deep. Don't get too deep. Don't get too deep.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I
you
ain't
put
gonna
a
get too
full
deep, but I'm just gonna show some of the pictures. But this
you put a full presentation on the situation
yeah,
here.
yeah, I don't
You
want to
know,
put up a
Yeah, yeah.
presentation, but
don't
yeah,
get too much. Don't get too
but
much.
you can see, like you see, I'm just showing the features. You can see that feature. That's a black woman, albino.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a what? White man with albinoism.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is what he was talking about. That albinism can actually affect their sight. This is what he was talking about when he said that. So I agree with that too.
Basically, the
Yeah.
the situation
Female
is, and
black
I got to
too.
say this much.
Now look at this right
Well,
here. See? Now this would be a Esau thing if they the way they trying to say it, but guess what? How this happens? Only way this can happen is his daddy and mama. One of his parents are white. One of her parents are white. They created a black, looking so-called black baby in America, and they called it a white baby. See how? But they are sisters, twins,
hmm hmm
come from this parent. This is the
but
only
that's
way
not
this
that's
happens.
you got to make sure that they don't people don't because they make turn it is at this time and the name of the title is Esau. They may turn around and say, well, that's how
Yeah.
Esau
No,
is such and such.
that's why I said that's why I said that's why I said for that Esau to happen, this would have to happen. So you would have to say Esau and Jacob, mother and father, had mixed parents when they didn't.
And
You see
they
what I'm
did.
saying? You would have
hmm
to say that for this to
Right. That's
happen.
a good
That's the
point.
only way this can happen,
hmm
because the
I would
OCA
I
gene
would
is
have to
inside them. But
say that the
I
OTA
ain't
did.
gonna go too, I ain't gonna go too much further because but I'm gonna
Yeah.
show one more. See that?
hmm
There's a black woman, black white father. See how they have
hmm
some black. This
Mm-hmm.
compared. One of them can pass for black. Two of them can pass for black. Two of them pass for white. They all brothers and sisters and
hmm
first cousins.
hmm
You see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna show one more. One more. That's the blonde hair. That's the blue eyes. That's the blue eye gene I was talking about right there. This is the blonde hair people of Solomon Island,
hmm
which they say they have European from them.
Right,
And
man.
one more. Let me see if I can go to it. Okay, Malcolm X. His
hmm
mother was Irish and black, and his father, so that's why he had Malcolm X actually had red hair and green eyes because of
hmm
the Irish.
I didn't know he
And
had green
this is
eyes.
one too. See this? This is actually doing apartheid in Africa. They had a black baby. They thought it won't even theirs, but when they checked their
hmm
genes, and one of the grandparents was a black person, so the genes skipped into to this daughter, which made her black.
Right.
You
hmm
see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get out there, but I just wanted to show that.
The bottom line is really to me is I don't really I know a lot of people turn around and say the Edomites and this and that everybody they look blonde as a Caucasian is an Edomite. That's why you got not really state that statement because they're not all Edomites.
Right.
All right, and at the same time, some of them would be dark skinned. So you cannot really say the Edomites are either black or white, literally, because they
Yeah,
could be both.
because they show
But
you they can
Esau,
mix. Yeah, they
right?
show you they can
Esau,
mix and they can actually be different types.
right? But
Because you had
Esau,
black, you just like Romans, you had black Romans, you had white Romans. It
mhm,
won't just because
Yeah.
black people was coming to Africa. It was because it was the mixture. Just like in Israel right now, you actually have black Israelis
mhm,
because some of them mixed. It ain't a lot of them, but it's actually a
Right.
black Israeli that came on side another that actually was debating against um 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 Tazariot. You see what I'm saying?
mhm,
Because I think one of his parents was a Jew and the other one was like black, and they mixed in and made him. You would think
mhm,
he's just a Negro.
mhm. Well,
Yeah,
put
you
a,
can take that up. Yeah,
hammer and a nail on this. Esau, as I stated, came out as a black child. Esau stayed a black child till he died. So we
yeah,
cannot say Esau is the white people.
Right.
So put that on the side. The Edomites,
Do we?
on the other side, we can turn around and say some of the East Edomites, right, are black. Some of the Edomites are look like Caucasian. But we cannot turn around and say all of them are all of one particular color. So
yeah.
when somebody throws at you these Edomites, you got to consider it. What are you saying? How do you know? You know, you looked under their skirt and see if they're actually Edomites, or you just
Yeah.
going by the color. You know, and this is really against
Right.
those that push the one West doctrine, because you know
But
you leave it to the one
you know
West.
what debate I want to have it. I want if I had debate somebody, I want to debate it. Did Joseph did uh did they come from Joseph fifth or Esau? Is basically biblically because I could show how
Mm.
I would say Joseph would fit more of going into Europe, Eurasia, and
Oh,
some of his
Japhet, you mean
some,
Japhet,
I mean
Japhet.
Japheth, my bad.
Yeah, I was like Joseph.
Yeah,
I heard Joseph.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I was even trying to say maybe he just the way his tongue is it's Joseph,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
trying to
I'm
say
yeah.
catching.
I'm kind
Japhet.
of country. Yeah, I'm kind of country.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Japhet.
Japheth, he how a lot of his descendants, some of his descendants actually went up into North Europe, into your Asia area.
Correct,
Mhm.
correct. That's where we know definitely that the Canaanites are cursed. Now, I'm not saying that they're literally all cursed with leprosy, and because that statement would be one West. We're not going to say that. But
Yeah.
uh, my brother, he provided proof. He provided scripture with that, so I can live with that as far as the Canaanites go. The Edomites, to me, now it's explained better that that statement should not be the Edomites or the white people or the Edomites or the black people because it could be both. It can go
I
both ways.
mean,
But the
the
fact,
Canaanite thing, I agree with it like biblically, but I just don't agree with it scientifically. I don't think that leprosy can make you have blonde hair, blue eyes. I mean, I just don't.
oh well, the
You know,
full
I think
features
that's
of it,
a
you don't agree with.
tendency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the full
So
features. No, and I understand that. No, I'm not.
yeah.
Nobody gonna knock anybody for
Aries.
that, right?
But
But
I think, I mean, from I don't know what they were. I mean, because I thought in the Bible they were supposed to be Hamites or something, right? I mean,
who?
when they weren't Canaanites and Hamites?
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Okay,
Hmm.
I thought he had. I thought it's like
That's why
Canaanites.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We can pretty much put a thumbtack on the Canaanites. You know, the Canaanites would have more of the features of Caucasians, if anyone on the planet. So
Yeah, I
people
mean,
try to throw
I
that at
understand
us.
what he was saying because he said northern. Because I told you like most history show that northern Africa had fair skinned people for a long time for like thousands of years. So yeah, I agree.
Right.
I do agree with that. They could have been later a
Right,
lot fairer people.
right.
Hmm.
But hold on. You can stop me. The Japhetic people, or I should say, Japhet himself was also like Esau. He was considered, he was a black guy. There was no
Yeah, yeah,
problem with that. But like if he intermixed with some of those,
Right.
then so obviously some of his seed's gonna also be also Caucasian color. But it's the same thing. Like we can say, all right, what about the Israelites? Well, we proved that with the curse of Gehazi. Some Israelites, right, permanently cursed to have that gene. So now what we have is a problem because one West is throwing one thing at the hatred groups. The hatred groups is throwing something at the regular Israelites and this and that. And they need to all stop that because, to be
yeah,
honest
yeah.
with you, right now,
Right.
they all are incorrect and at the same time correct. You
I
know what I'm
think if
saying?
I think if they all stop being retarded and study genetics, and they
Mm-hmm.
will understand that what they said is just sound foolish. I just say it because,
Mm-hmm.
like I told
Mm-hmm.
before, if you don't tell me you don't believe in genetics, but you talk about how your son and daughter look like you, how they got your hair, how my son got my nose, it looks like me, and that's
Mm-hmm.
genetics. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Now, Brother Vicar, now you went deep. Now you talk about bestiality. You know,
yeah,
scripture
I know
got
he.
bestiality in there. You know, we can pull a scripture and say it mixed with,
But
mixed
see,
with my
the
rock
thing
seeds
is,
with the beef. Woo.
everybody outside certain places like Israel, most of them did this stuff. See, we want to make sure we want
Mm-hmm.
to make it we want to make it seem like certain people, but it was people in South America that was cannibal. They were doing cannibalisms. It was some,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man.
so that's why Israel didn't mess with a lot of these nations because we supposed to be different than all the nations, not just a certain one, that all of them, because all of them took the
Mm-hmm.
Most High was a sinful people.
All I know is when I see brothers walking around with the mirrors looking at their backside, looking for that tail back there. Now I know why.
Yeah, don't
I,
do that. Don't do
I
that.
hope not.
Yeah. But that's the tailbone from the end of the spinal cord coming all the way out. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
doesn't actually move. They can't move it nothing like
They
an
can't
animal.
waggle their tail. That's what you
Yeah,
said.
no. Yeah.
Well, that's deep, but
But
that's
that's
what.
what Unc was actually trying to say. What happened was that Unc tried to teach that all of us had tails, but when
Yeah, he
the
did.
sperm, but when the sperm goes inside the egg actually cuts part of the tail off, and then it's like a ball that rolls
Mhm.
in. See, I teach that this tail, that part that hangs from the head, I teach that's the brain and the spinal cord, and the
Correct,
whole flesh
correct.
and the thing develops around that.
Uh,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so
I believe
yeah,
that you,
Makes
and I'm
sense.
not science as savvy as you, but I believe, and this is me saying it, you hear me saying, I believe, right? Now,
yeah,
because I believe that don't mean it's scripture, but or I should say scientific. But I believe that the sperm, right, itself, right, as the seed itself,
Mhm.
right, when it basically, develops in the egg or whatever, is your brain stem with your whole spine combined in an adult
yeah,
form. That's
yeah.
what
Makes
I
I
sense.
believe that too.
believe.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because when you look at the brain, right, and then you go to, like, when you take a brain out of the body, right, is a brain with a tail. See, it got a long tail. So your spinal cord is actually under your spine, the bones of the spinal. So the bones of the spinal is actually protecting the spinal cord. So when you take the brain out, is a brain and the tail hangs down. The nerves
Correct.
come off the spinal, and
Hmm.
then it goes around your body. So
So you trying to
everything
tell
is
me
adapted.
that brain up in our head is basically that same sperm that
Yeah, because I
they
tell
grew
people
up?
this. If something can die, that means it's what? Alive, right?
Right.
So a lot of doctors and a lot of some people say that they believe that the subconscious or the subconscious belief actually was inside of the sperm before we even was created, because that egg and that sperm actually communicate. So that sperm goes into that egg and it's like, let me in, and she's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And she let him in. You know
I
what I'm
think we
saying?
I
So
think I think we better get Google Scholar up on here.
yeah, please bring him on Roscoe Man.
Get him up
Yeah.
on here. He can give us some more details, how that damn thing
Yeah,
works.
he could say we came from monkeys. That's all he gonna try to
Shoot.
say. I already proved him wrong on that.
Mhm.
Once I showed him the evolution that I knew about it, he was like, "Oh, I don't really study evolution like that. You got to talk to Unc." I was like, "Well, why are you talking about it then? Why you talking about it like you really know it when you don't?"
Well, like I said, we're gonna
What
do
you
a
because you what you won't want to teach people, you don't want to teach people that evolution is really believe they came from fish, not monkeys. They believe we went from
mhm.
fish to
Right.
I
animals
heard
to
that too.
monkeys.
Aqua
I heard that.
Weasel or something like that.
But
Yeah,
like I said, we're gonna definitely do a part two on this where we're gonna actually get into deeper details. We didn't start it off in the beginning, but as I said, as we get closer towards the marker, we started getting deep in that. So we warned a
okay,
part two.
yeah.
You
I
know
didn't
what I
want to
mean?
go too deep.
So,
I didn't want
no, no. I mean, you showed a lot of your presentation.
to.
You know what I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's your presentation. I just don't like because later on I want to see somebody
yeah. I
come
just That's
along
why I
and
skipped to the pictures. I
they,
I
and
ain't bring the information with
it
it.
a chopped, chopped out. You know what I'm saying? They see our heads and a little bit of our heads in there and say, wait a minute, you stole every presentation.
Right.
'Cause I've seen people do that shit in a debate. And they thinking I'm saying, you know what? You plagiarize another man's presentation. That means you didn't actually do the true research. So I got to take points away, my man. You're not sure of yourself.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful.
So when you want to do the homie thing? Cause I'm out. Just let me know what day I got you on that.
Really?
The Benin. The Benin. They Benin there. My
Well,
bad. They call it
we
Benin.
could go into that. I don't want to do it this what do we said Thursday we said down for that particular
Okay.
not
Yeah.
Thursday. Well, I said Thursday. Let's say Wednesdays. I said Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, I'm off Wednesday.
Whatever
So
whatever day we did it last week
yeah.
was it
Oh,
Wednesday?
we did it last week. We did it Monday,
Tuesday. Matter of fact, we did it
Tuesday.
on
Yeah, it
Tuesday.
was
So
Tuesday.
yeah,
Yeah.
then Tuesday's coming up. Tuesday we'll set it. For that, like I said, Impact Today series. You know what I mean? Then we'll
Okay.
hit on that. It don't have to be this Tuesday. It could be the Tuesday after. You know
Like
what
I
I
said,
mean?
I got my presentation, so whenever I'm ready.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got about 15 presentations I can pull up, so I'm just ready.
hmm
ready. I want to do the
That's
Marcus
good.
Garvey and the agent junk and the
That's good. We'll
Bible.
have we could do the Impact 2 not only in episodes, we do it in seasons. Have
Yeah,
next
yeah,
year's season still going on with it because we need to actually start forwarding our own stake and take on our
yeah,
history, our everything, instead of
yeah.
depending on what they present to us. And not saying that they
Exactly.
don't present always bad things, but we need
Yeah,
to keep a record of our own
yeah.
history.
And stuff we forget, you know what I mean? Because
hmm
they people forget what they did to Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X. People forget about the ages and how they because see that's something to learn because they do that to this day. They can infiltrate a lot of groups and make you fight with each other. That's how all these Israelites is split up and arguing. That's why the Nation of Islam got threefold just camps now. Everything that ever was created as far as like nationality or black nationality, it's all split up in different groups now.
hmm Now, although tonight was supposed to be about Esau and blah blah blah, we did a lot of things that should have featured in our research and debate clinic. All right,
Yeah,
specifically to like certain things of how you do like the proper way to do research things, like how the one brother he gave me the Strongs. We looked it up in the Strongs. You know what I'm saying, and we validated certain things. Those are good things when you doing the actual
yeah,
to call it friendly debates, friendly fire debates, not debates. Well, my best is better
oh
than
yeah,
your
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Where at the end of the day, somebody learns something. We all learn something.
I
You
call
get
it
what I'm
build. I
saying?
call it building debate. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
building, more like
Mm-hmm.
building with each other.
Because I want to talk about like the Dead Sea Scrolls and how the Dead Sea Scrolls should be used to validate or invalidate the actual manuscripts that we have today.
Yeah. See,
You
I'm
know
see
what I
now
mean?
that show. I'm gonna sit back as a student right there and listen.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
know
no,
what I mean?
and there's nothing
Some,
wrong with it. Nothing wrong with
yeah.
that.
Sometimes you gotta be a
Mhm.
student to be a teacher. You know what I mean?
Because there's some set of people, I hate to say a hard drive, that think he's being wise by telling people that they use the Strongs, the numbers, there's something wrong with them using the European and using this and that. And then other people say, well, I'm using the stone to knock my shit's better than your shit. And like I say, I use the Septuagint. Or somebody else uses the, Samaritan Pentateuch or the Pachetta. You know what I'm saying? Because I
I mean,
have
we
access to
gotta we
almost
gotta
all of
stop.
them.
We gotta stop saying. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I understand what people trying to say. I think it's a defense mechanism. People say, "Oh, you using the European motherfucker? The way you dress, the food you eat, the light you turn on, the house you go into, the job, the car you buy, motherfucker comes
Yeah,
from
you
the.
shake the
What are you
salt from a
talking about?
salt shaker, man, that a damn European made. Dude, what are
Yeah,
you saying,
like
huh?
stop it.
You know what I'm
You
saying? You can
speak the
do that.
language, like you speak English,
hmm
motherfucker. You
Yeah,
know, like what are
yeah.
you talking about?
Like, dude, you speak English, man. What are you trying to say? You're
Yeah,
anti,
like
you're anti, European, but damn, brother, take that shirt off your back.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't eat no food, walk around naked and homeless, motherfucker. You act like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, smelling like a smelt and shit. But yeah, no, this is how you have what you call friendly fire uh debates, where it's edification. Instead of like on those entertainment debate platforms you see going on, these guys is making up shit and the crowd is laughing with it. Then that's supposed to make it truth. That's not truth.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, you didn't learn anything. You
right.
just learned that this guy can debate better than another guy as far as his tactics. That's not
Uh,
Right.
really.
yeah, I love discussions. I'm a passive person. So I love discussion. I love other people that just as smart as us. That ain't afraid to come on and talk with us. You know what I mean? I love the people in the comments that come on here every day. It don't matter. We don't agree on none of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's about we at least we ain't killing each other. We here building with each other, man. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's
Right.
how it's supposed to be.
Like
Yes, sir.
our sister Jacqueline E. Bugs, she said 2 weeks ago on the show she wanted to see a breakdown with David and coming back at David. So what I did last week, I made a teaser video, basically, dealing with the covenant and also dealing with David. And I left on that note, like everybody could say, well, is he saying that David is coming back, or are they saying that David is the king and everything? So I left it on that note like that on purpose. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because a lot of things people are not looking in perspective that when you use a certain scripture like Ezekiel 37 or 24, you know what I mean? That's talking about particularly King David, not as a descendant of King David, but it's talking about King David. But if you read it in proper context, it's not talking about King David being resurrected or anybody being resurrected, like how get it from the New Testament, or what you
yeah,
call what the other reincarnated, like another form of starting to hear go along with people. What I'm saying is, in this world, that's not going to happen. You know,
yeah.
obviously we're gonna all die. So obviously you could
And
say,
Come back.
even if you believe in reincarnation don't teach you coming back and knowing who you is. You're supposed to be, you know what I mean? You're not
Right.
gonna know who you. That's what reincarnation teaches. So you're not gonna
me
come back
personally,
and oh, I was
me
King David
personally,
100.
yeah, I don't personally think that people's understanding of how reincarnation, true reincarnation, really works. Anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they,
Right.
they, they get it misconstrued because they
I mean,
mix it so much of
you
resurrection
better
with
not,
it.
yeah, you better not believe in that Hindu creation because you might come back as a fucking
No,
cricket.
no.
You might come back as a frog or
A
something.
spider. Queen Elizabeth.
That's like when we was dealing with the debate with Isaiah 53. It's hard for those that lust JC to understand that particular character is really talking about the nation as in the formulation of Jacob in uh, being formulated to Israel. That's what it is talking about. It's a metaphorical of Israel. What,
Yeah,
what what Jacob went through in his basically his life story, his life thing. Just like I could turn back around with that on like David in the house of David. We are David as the house of David. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We're gonna have carry his ways so that we are being David. It's the same thing like Israel and Jacob, and the nation. We're supposed to have that. Nobody gonna knock that. Those are traits. Traits. That's not
yeah.
reincarnation. That's traits. We're gonna have those traits. All right. Um. Great 202. You want to respond in anything before we move on? I know I have you.
Oh, I was just gonna wanted to say this is a bomb show. Learned a lot for sure.
Hmm. I know because I was gonna let
I
let
mean,
you have the helm back. I forgot. We went
at
so
least they
far
don't
on
think that.
the thing, we forgot where we were going.
At least they don't think that he
I'm
coming
sitting back learning.
Hmm.
back like Jesus.
Hmm.
Because as a Christian,
Oh, say that
you
again.
told
You breaking up?
Yeah, you broke up.
me Jesus coming back
Yeah. Well, I think what he's saying is like the narrative, the sole narrative
on
of the Jesus thing is
a
the
horse.
coming back is what people are doing. Oh, the rider on the horse, huh? Go
So
out and come back in, Eric. Go back and come back in. You just break it up. Go back and come back in. Yeah, only thing is technology as good as it gets, it just can't keep a signal with everybody correct at all times. Put it back in there. Yeah, now you're better.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I said at least they don't think about how like Christians think Jesus come back. I was talking to one person. He was like, "Yeah." I said, "So how Jesus supposed to come back?" He was like, "He coming back on a horse." I said, "Where the hell the horse coming from?"
the
I was
sky.
like, I was like,
In the
is it alien?
clouds.
Like, is it alien? Is it a space one?
Pegasus.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah,
Pegasus.
like what the hell? Trying to get
That Greek shit.
this-
Crazy.
I mean, people. I mean, that's what I said, man. Sometimes, people go into that New Testament, especially the New Testament, they start losing reality, man.
You gotta
They
consider.
start,
You gotta consider, Eric. We
yeah,
we say the New Testament, and actually that's new territories
yeah,
on the deep end.
yeah.
Crazy. Uh, what? You already said something. I'm just gonna post a couple of things real quick on the thing what people were saying in the gallery. You know, I didn't address everything. Just shooting through it quickly. So everybody have a thing. What he says, as I understand it, Jeremiah chapter 50 and 51 seem to be speaking about a future prophecy. No, it's speaking about a future prophecy for us the future of that time of those that generation that went into Babylon and the generation that came out. That's all it was really speaking of. But it didn't
Did
speak
we
on.
already do a show on prophecy?
Well, I kind of touched on it when we was talking about the covenant thing, how the covenant works.
No, I'm
I
talking
kind of
about. I
touched
think
on.
we did a show like back in the day, like I think we did a show on like we was posted. Yeah, I think we did a show on prophecy. Didn't like how prophecy
Oh
works.
yeah. We did. Yeah, we did a couple of
Oh,
whole
okay,
bunch of
okay.
stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But well, the thing is, a lot of people don't actually get to see all of the presentations and stuff that we done. So
Yeah,
the only real way is they got to go to the actual channel and just comb through some of those videos.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Genesis, go to the channel. He got a jump. We had a whole jump on how prophecy works, bro. Like and
hmm
show you how it really works. It doesn't work like
hmm
y'all taking modern prophets. Like I mean, y'all taking modern. They didn't even call it prophets. What they call it? Psychics.
psychics and
Yeah, and try to make
seers.
them. Yeah, and confuse them
hmm
with prophets.
Yeah. But like I said,
I
there's two prophetic things that goes in our manuscripts. You have sureties, which is literally one for one that the Most High gives, and those things are something that if He states it is going to be, and guess what? Those things are like the curses of Deuteronomy. It can come and it can go. So
Yeah,
that's not really prophecy. That's just the way it is. It's like a rule to that. There's
yeah.
law to that. You have to be careful when we're reading a
It's the
surety.
same thing. It's the same thing you tell your son if you go outside and do something bad, I'm gonna beat your tail when you come in. If you do good,
That's a surety. You
yeah,
better believe that.
yeah,
hmm
I had actually made that post concerning Jeremiah 50:51. The only issue I was wanting to ask was when you look at Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 40 on down, it talks about Babylon being destroyed like he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And we
hmm
know Sodom and Gomorrah was basically to this day is like sulfur, just straight,
hmm
yeah, sulfur, And we know that it didn't happen in ancient Babylon because Darius the Mede, he lived and died in Babylon. Alexander the Greek, he lived and died in Babylon. So
hmm
when I look at the scripture, I'll have to say it seems to be unfulfilled. I mean, I don't know what you
Well,
guys
well,
think about
well, well, well. The thing is, you're absolutely right. If you're looking for it to be physically fulfilled, but see, a lot of things we have in our manuscripts are not always physical or metaphorical or literal. All right, I have to be careful when I say literal because when people look for literal things, you got to remember you look up the sky above your head, gold up there. That's not really no gold above your head. It's just the reflection of how the sunlight works, or rays of the sun. But when you say from that point of them Babylon being destroyed, technically it was fulfilled because no longer the ones who had control, the powers to be, were no longer in place. So it was destroyed. Now, physically destroyed at the time for like how we see it in the rubbles today, that didn't happen like according to what Jeremiah chapter 50 and 51. No, that didn't happen. Or Isaiah. But you got to remember, the reason why we see these in the writings has nothing to do with the actual prophetic speech that took place. Because, like I said, if I show certain things with the Dead Sea Scrolls that will validate whether something is actually written as it is or not written, you're going to have people fill in the gaps with certain things. And what makes it better to fill in the gaps with things that make it sound good? Or what you call after the fact writings to coincide with the actual historical things. You know what I mean? So obviously those are the errors and the counterings that we're going to deal with. But literally, all things that was prophesied in the scriptures was fulfilled. But like I said, the sureties mimic prophecies that could seem like they weren't fulfilled because we can see things today that mimic that. All right. Now, as far as outside of the the biblical manuscripts, we losing history. History works the same way too. You got to be careful because sometimes they can make like when you have after the fact writings used, you can make something seem like. Think about it. 25 years from now, they might paint Tupac to be a white guy and put everything on it historically. Guess what? We're not here anymore. The next generation that comes along read that as new history to them or new evidence, which is supposed to be a history to them, and they might start pushing that narrative. So you got to be careful with some of history because you got to actually prove history too. You know what I mean? And like even archaeology and stuff like that. You got to use all of that to validate. Right? But the funny thing is, when we're dealing with like the book of Jeremiah, we have to break that down in different sections anyway, because Jeremiah dealt with, I think, three different time periods. He dealt with the time period when he was little Jeremiah, that would be like when the King Josiah's time frame, and then he dealt with it in the latter age where he's dealing with during the captivity. During the captivity, you say, "Wait a minute, hold on. What do you mean during the captivity?" He pronounced stuff before the captivity, and he also did stuff during the captivity too. Lamentations is giving you that message. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and just because Jeremiah comes before Ezekiel, who seems to be like giving you the beginning portion of the captivity, also it also ends up when you go into the latter chapters, you think he's like, damn, the captivity didn't even happen yet. Well, that's the way the writings is structured, and the way they put the scroll together before they put verse numbers and chapter numbers on it to begin with, because you can read the scroll as one lead scroll, and those things are in a different formulation. But it's not saying it's out of chronological order, not at all. It's just the way the writer wrote at that time. It might have been the way his message was supposed to show. It's like Daniel. Daniel talked in the beginning of him in the captivity, but then later on, it's after the captivity. This is during the Persian time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just when you read it, you got to read it from. Not saying it against you. I'm just saying like people
Oh no, no,
have
I
to read it.
understand.
People have to read it and get the context of what the message is specific to, and that could be a chapter, two chapters before it, or two and three chapters afterwards, or something might be a dreams or vision sequence. You know what I mean? If you read something that's in a vision sequence, and you skip between the part that tells you that, you be thinking that's just talk about something that's going to be prophetic, but it's actually not. It's just a message for someone to get something metaphorical.
So, quick question.
Hmm.
So like, let me pull up the scripture here. I believe it is in Jeremiah 50. It says that Judah and Israel was oppressed together in Babylon.
Yeah,
Now, would you say that was ancient Babylon? This scripture is talking about. Would you say that's what that scripture is referring to? Ancient Babylon, Judah, and the kingdom of Israel.
absolutely, absolutely.
The,
Ancient
re-
Babylon.
the reason why I bring that up,
Mm.
no, I
When you
was just gonna
say
say
ancient
that.
Babylon, you talking about Babylon. You talking about Babylon as far as the Nebuchadnezzar Babylon, correct?
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon.
Right. Now the thing is, people don't understand. I think I said it earlier. We never really read anywhere in the scriptures of a reconciled house anywhere, meaning like the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom together as one people again. But we have to use our heads when some of the those that were like say in the Syrian captivity ended up coming back together with King Hezekiah, right? That's still some of the northern kingdom, but they're not considered northern kingdom anymore. They're all summed up into the tribe of Judah. You got to remember, Judah is the main scope of the biblical narrative. If you think about it, from Genesis 49:10. All right, as far as it goes with the kingdoms being like two houses, etc., etc. That's just the history standard of it.
Right, right.
All right. But to understand that from our perspective now, nobody really knows who any of the northern kingdoms are today, and they will never know. You know why? Because they all absorbed into one nation. All right. Literally, and when I say one nation, they came from one nation. They are absorbed into one kingdom. But we don't really see any instances of that. But when you're hearing it in the prophecy, like with the two sticks and all this and that, that's really the same thing. It's just that
You
we're
know,
not
I'll
seeing
say
that.
this. I have an idea. The next time we come on, I have some research concerning the Northern Kingdom and who they are today. You know, I'll bring it out next time. You know, because
Hmm.
I know we're ready to close up in a bit, but
Hmm.
yeah, I
And
have
then
an
that would be good.
idea.
That would be good. A
Yeah,
good topic. It would be a good
yeah,
topic. I mean.
you know, and the reason why I brought up the Jeremiah chapter 50 and 51 is because when you look at Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11, it
Hmm.
says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that the
Hmm.
Lord shall set his head again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from
Hmm.
Egypt, from Pathros, and from Cush, and from
Hmm.
Elam, and from Shinar, which is Babylon,
Hmm.
and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea." So when I look at that scripture where it says that Judah and Israel shall be oppressed together, I know there
Hmm.
was a remnant of the northern kingdom and Judea at the time during Nebuchadnezzar's invasion. But
Hmm.
it seems like when you read Jeremiah 50 and 51, that both of these kingdoms are in this place. And then when I read Isaiah chapter 11 and 11, it says that he's going to recover the remnant of all these places. And it
Hmm.
doesn't seem to name like, it doesn't seem like it names any places that we're in today, like
I get what you're
North
saying.
America, South America,
Hmm.
Europe. It's all the areas that is in proximity of Israel,
Right.
Assyria,
Right.
Egypt,
Right.
Cush, Elam.
Right.
So that's why I say it's future prophecy when I look at this scripture. That's the reason why I said that.
Hmm.
But
I
what you
understand.
said made sense. So
Mhm. I understand. Now, there was another thing that you said in there, and I lost it real quick. What was you said, like Isaiah chapter 11. Like a good thing you said that, and a good thing I wanted people to understand that from the perspective of the writings. We gotta not you and me, but we have to stop talking about in general, basing everything off of scripture numbers and chapter numbers because the way they put that canon of books together, which they put it together, not us. They did that cleverly to cause that conflict. That's why there's a book called The Political Intent of Torah, which also goes with the Tanakh, how they wrote these things. They did that on purpose so that they have us arguing among one another, always saying, "Oh no, 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 this is that and that and this and this and that," because it's a political intent. The heathen knows, you know. You throw a bunch of scriptures that sound good the way they were written. You may think it is talk about modern day, like earth and land, erects. You know what I mean? The way it's
mhm.
worded, you got to be careful when it's anglicized because mistakes and errors are made on purpose, and sometimes made unknowingly, and they're used on purpose.
Yeah.
So that's why it gets that that thought that certain things have not been fulfilled. Just like the greatest discussion I would want people to have would be the Daniel 9 thing, the chapter 9 of Daniel. I've
That's an
seen,
interesting chapter. Yeah,
I've
because
seen,
I
I've
see
seen.
different views from both
Hmm.
Torah onlys and New Testament
Hmm.
believers as well.
Hmm.
That's a good one.
And I especially as I see the new one with the Satornites, they went with the an ancient tradition. I have to say that because it's not like brand new. It's just ancient because originally they wanted to point to Daniel 9 being on the Maccabean revolt timeline and all that. Onias the third, which it was a good one too. A good one too. Most of the Christians obviously they use all of those miscalculated numbers and
Right.
figures, this and
Right.
that, to point to the
Hmm.
JC narrative. And I'm like, there's many of the Torah only that point to a timeline dealing with it as Cyrus the Great,
Hmm.
Joe, Joshua the High Priest, and uh, what's his name, Zerubbabel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Zerubbabel.
in scriptures, if you look at it scripturally, right, with the backing books, it stays within that timeline and stays within it to the point where you don't have to even go outside of the Torah into. Well, I'm saying the Torah because I'm forced to say it, but the Tanakh history side of things. If you stay within the Tanakh history thing, you'll see that it's all resolved there. You know what I mean? No need to go outside of that scripture because, like Jeremiah's talking about that, right, in his chapter,
Mm-hmm.
70 years. And Haggai is talking about the same thing when he's talking about the after the situation in the book of Ezra is talking about it. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
then when you look at the book of Zechariah, Zechariah is another prophet that also goes different time periods in his prophecy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because he would have been a young lad in Babylon, right? So
Right.
his story is going to be talking between that what's going on before Babylon and also after Babylon. And people get it misconstrued. Zechariah 14, you know what I mean? That's talking about a timeline that's dead on with Daniel 9, right? And it's dead on with some of the things that happened with Jeremiah is talking about in chapter 6. It's like crazy, but it's the way it's canonized by the heathen to make you think that it's outside of the timeline when it's really not.
Yeah, I notice most Christians and those of our brethren who observe and follow the New Testament believe that
Hmm.
it's Daniel 9, I believe verse 25. It's talking
Hmm.
about, Jesus, that he was the one, was the Messiah that was,
Hmm.
killed, cut off.
And if you read it from especially like some of the Masoretic texts, they have it with that to make it even strong points on that. But read that same Daniel chapter 9, right, from the Septuagint. Read that same chapter 9, which you ain't gonna find in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Well,
Right,
guess
right.
what? It ain't in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Then wait. When I say if it ain't in the Dead Sea Scrolls, then how the hell is it in the Masoretic text? You know what I'm saying? Because
Exactly.
the Dead Sea Scrolls is supposed to validate the Masoretic text. You
Yeah.
notice that? Daniel 9 in the Septuagint don't even give you that same inclusion of how these Christians get their forwarded to Messiah. Because it pretty much tells you that what happens to the Messiah in Daniel 9. He should be cut off, right? But he's not cut off for anything important. It fits back on the narrative like Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you can't argue with these people when they so strong on it with their lust for making something that actually was not talking about a certain thing fit upon a certain thing. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
hey, that's why we have these discussions. We have these discussions for that reason. Like I can break down the book of Revelations, particularly how you talk about the serpent becomes a damn dragon. Which mimics from out of the Garden of Eden, where the
Yeah.
serpent was actually the serpent was a serpent. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was came to be a snake. You know how they do certain things. But anyway, anybody else want to say something? We might as well set this one up. We'll close it for the night, but we're gonna do a part 2 on the Esau
Yeah, for sure. I gotta go to work in the morning.
thing.
Lucky it's a
Absolutely.
short day, so
Mhm. My brother Alan, I guess he didn't come on today. Was a little tired, whatever. And brother Eli, he had to work. Brother Yasha was on here a little earlier.
yeah,
Good thing. Obviously, Bakar, he was on there a couple of, like I said, I put the link in the group. Anybody could come on. I don't really have no limits on who comes on. We're gonna have
yeah,
discussions like this. It's great. It's a great build.
yeah. I like it.
I agree.
Mhm.
I like
Yo,
when more people come on here. We discuss and
yo,
talk.
Mhm. Yep.
man.
Brother Yasin, say what you want to say. You was in the background a long time, brother.
Yeah, I was chilling, man. parlaying, hanging out. Yeah,
Mhm.
man. I don't really got nothing to say, same old nigga enjoy the shit. My bad, like I do all the time. Vibing.
Mhm.
With the click. Well, bro, who got all them documents, bro? Where you get all that stuff from?
Eric the
You
Mad
got loaded
Scientist.
with them.
Oh yeah. I've been researching a long time.
Yeah, man. Hey, bro, you right, though. I feel you, bro. I'm with you, dog. Motherfucker hybrids, bro. They got tails. Hey, for real. But I ain't gonna. I'm back in the background. Y'all shout out Shalom. Love the fam. You know.
Yeah, peace.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say my shalom's for a brother Vicar. He says a great show. Blessings to the fam who turned into the show. That's right. That's right. You know,
Yeah, peace to everybody that watched the show. Peace to all the people that came on the panel, man. They enjoyed this. This is what we building this shit for. Forever, for the people to come on here, just build, man.
Build. All right. Anything you want to say before we close out? Great 202.
Blessings to everybody that was listening, and blessings to those who was on the panel. I was really blessed by the whole conversation. Thank you, guys.
All right. And I'm going to say it and out. Shalom, which means peace,
Shalom.
Mr.
Shalom. May y'all bless.
What do you want? I'm gonna kill you, you bastard!
Here's the juck. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc. Good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look. Red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give them wings, we red dot them. Candy rappers, send them in, we red hot them. Headshot them, go against migraine, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox them. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box them. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like why meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a